And at number 10, Justin and Hailey Bieber. According to Justin, he and Hailey's marriage was entirely arranged, and even though it wasn't all that hush-hush, it was rather surprising for the husband of the pair to reveal that kind of tea. It came in the form of a joke many fans assumed was a cry for help during a March 2020 Ellen Friday interview. The singer took part in the sit-down with guest host Demi Lovato and addressed his personal realization of literally being set up with his now wife following her father, Stephen Baldwin, dragging Hailey to the Today Show in 2009. Upon explaining, Justin referenced their infamous first encounter at the morning show, detailing her dad dragged her out of bed in the morning and basically was like, you know, I think because she was raised Christian and I think they found out. I think it was an arranged marriage, I'm pretty sure. Looking back now, I'm like, it was definitely. Like, they set this whole thing up. He also mentioned that Hailey's Christianity played a big part in him meeting her family and getting the ball rolling. Quote, since she was raised Christian and she's like, oh, I want to introduce you to Justin and his mom, you know, they have similar values and believe the same thing. We think you guys would be good friends. Demi, who seemed intrigued by the breakdown Justin was serving, later joked, well, mom, dad, if you're listening, it's time because I'm 27. Arrange it up. Before we break down the rest of today's list, be sure to smash that subscribe button if you're keeping up with BTS's top 10 countdowns. In at number 9, Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. Miley and Liam had a top secret island marriage back in 2018. Regarding the occasion, Miley uploaded a snap on Instagram of her and Liam embracing at their wedding, captioning the image of the now ex-spouses 10 years later. Because fans were in the dark about Miley and Liam's former nuptials ahead of the ceremony, there wasn't a lot of time in between to speculate what Miley would wear while walking down the aisle to give her hand to her then fiance. However, when the pictures dropped from the wedding event, it showed off Miley's appreciation for simple elegance, but also allowed her sexier, freer side she'd become known for to shine through. The Flowers singer-songwriter, her family, and her then husband all celebrated the occasion by posting snaps of the secret ceremony. Miley's gorgeous floor-length off-the-shoulder ivory Vivienne Westwood designed gown truly stole the show too. And at number 8, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. An OK exclusive report from 2012 unfolded the events of Blake and Ryan's bank heist-like wedding. The pair shocked the whole industry when their surprise South Californian wedding in September was hidden from the public eye. The couple ensured no one knew about their big special day, as Ryan stressed to their wedding planner how important it was for them to keep things quiet. At New York's Martha Stewart Wedding's bridal fashion week party, planner Tara Garrett informed OK about how exactly she made it work. Quote, they made me sign paperwork. I think it's funny because Ryan always said, just pretend we're going to be heisting a bank and that's how serious it is. I said, yes sir. Tara also slipped in a quick joke which quipped, now I think I'm a professional. I can rob a bank, don't you think? Even editorial director for Martha Stewart Weddings, Darcy Miller, further detailed, I told no one. I didn't even tell my husband, anyone. I called them by a fake name. I still today call them by a fake name. I was with them yesterday and they were laughing. I got so paranoid about saying their name. For them, they really just wanted to have an intimate wedding, and I think that for us, we wanted to try really hard to maintain that. And at number 7, Elliot Page and Emma Portner. When Elliot and Emma tied the knot, their wedding ceremony was so discreet that fans were unaware of the big occasion until it was discussed via Instagram. Umbrella Academy actor Elliot recalled the events on the photo sharing platform that Wednesday, tagging his wife in the new post with the caption, "Can't believe I get to call this extraordinary woman my wife." After the news broke wind, a representative of Elliot confirmed the joyous news to People. Back in December 2020, Elliot, who was formerly Ellen, came out as trans while announcing their use of he/they pronouns. For their images on Instagram, one featured a photo of their joint hands and wedding bands against a white background. Before their marriage, Elliot initially started posting photos with the Canadian star on social media over that summer. And at number 6, Ashley Tisdale and Christopher French. Fans of High School Musical were shocked when Ashley and her current husband Christopher held a secret wedding back in 2014. They shared their vows to devote their lives to one another in a private Santa Barbara estate, and as per Radar Online, all the guests went to a secret location and shuttled to the estate at the time. The hush ceremony also served as a High School Musical cast reunion iconically. The majority of Ashley's co-stars, who she bonded with in her younger years through the franchise, were present. Actress, singer, and female lead of their franchise, Vanessa Hudgens, even took on the role of Ashley's maid of honor. Staying in tune with the trend of private celebrity weddings in more modern days, this couple was able to maintain the privacy of their nuptials, which is entirely how they had hoped for things to play out. According to a source, the event was very top secret. Ashley has been hyper-focused on keeping it a secret. She wanted it to be her day and didn't want it to be a circus. So when it came down to the arguably most important day of Ashley and Christopher's lives, the stars left no room for anything but maintaining their top priority, privacy. As per the same source, security was very tight. They took everyone's cell phones and and electronics. In at number 5, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. Mila and Ashton even being in a relationship was a massive shock, so imagine fans' surprise when the still married couple first tied the knot. The spouses met and got well acquainted over the years from the time they've collectively starred in the hit series That 70s Show. However, they remained friendly up until 2012. It didn't take much longer for their engagement to follow in 2014 before they welcomed their first child, a baby girl, later that year. Then finally in 2015, the couple exchanged vows in a ranch on the outskirts of LA. And the craziest part? The guests weren't even aware of the location until a day prior. That's how tight-lipped the entire event was. The secret garden party was equally as private, with the festivities being held over the 4th of July weekend. According to a source who relayed information to People, the parents of two were already legally married, and the party merely served as a low-key gathering to ring in the joyous occasion with close friends and family. As they were surrounded by the most special people in their lives, the former 70s Show's co-stars discreetly did it big in Oak Glen, California, setting themselves up in a secluded area that sprawled across acres of botanical gardens, ponds, and apple orchards. The gated space served as a locked-off safety net for the couple, as according to its website, it only then recently opened up its available space for exclusive private events and weddings. Mila and Ashton stocked the Camp Cuckoo dubbed greenery with outdoor-themed activities, as a row of tents made home for a luxury campground for guests. In at number 4, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. Jason and Lisa were dating for over a decade before they made things official. Despite speculation that the now ex-couple was already married as of 2007, it took them until 2017 to become legally married. The intimate celebration occurred in their Topanga, Californian home and held a lavish list of celebrity guests, including former co-stars like Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander, as well as Zoe Kravitz. Their hushed wedding happened after 12 whole years together, and while finally saying "I do," the two managed to hide the entire occasion. Surrounded by their most important family and friends, the couple's wedding was later reported by an insider. That source informed Us Weekly apparently they weren't officially married until then. Then, an additional insider reported to the same outlet that Lisa and Jason proceeded to purchase a marriage license that October, going on record for the LA County and County Clerk's office a single week before they tied the knot. After all that secret love, the pair called off their marriage in 2022, and no word has confirmed whether or not they have since remained divorced or remarried. In at number 3, Cardi B and Offset. Fans seemed elated when the rapper ended up proposing to his female rapping partner back in October 2017. However, the rather open-up artist revealed that she and Offset were already married a month before. Even more, the wedding remained so off the radar that Cardi didn't even bother wearing a dress or makeup, something she formally revealed in a lengthy tweet. Apparently, Cardi stepped forward to break the news after reports released suggestions that the couple, who was assumed to be merely engaged at the time, were actually spouses. Cardi set the record straight as she normally does and left fans in a bout of surprise over it. That October, concert goers were the first to see Offset drop on one knee and propose to the female rapper during a Philadelphia Power 99 Powerhouse show. However, as per reports and later confirmed by the stars, Cardi and Offset had already held a secret ceremony weeks before they put on a show for the audience. On September 20th. Once it was revealed, fans started piecing together how inseparable they seemed and how their joint interview and Rolling Stone cover made a lot more sense. More so, supporters wondered why the pair ever kept their marriage a secret in the first place. In at number 2, Jim Parsons and Todd Spiewak. 14 lengthy years finally bore witness to Big Bang Theory actor Jim tying the knot with his since husband Todd in 2017. The same-sex couple got married at New York City's Rainbow Room, and according to one of the guests, who was also a co-star of Jim's, Mayim Bialik, ceremony attendees were not allowed to use their cellular devices at the event. Posted on Instagram, Mayim captioned a cute snap of the newlyweds, "What a wedding, not a cell phone in sight. Everyone was so present," which sounds pretentious. "It was truly powerful for us all to just be there fully. Todd and at the real Jim Parsons, you are so loved. Also, hands down prettiest chupa ever. Seriously." And at number 1, Jodie Foster and Alexandra Hedison. Jodie has maintained her incredible need for privacy throughout the entirety of her acclaimed career. Factually, her sexuality remained a massive secret up until she presumably came out in her 2013 Golden Globes acceptance speech. She and her then girlfriend, Alexandra, got married a mere year after seriously dating in 2014. Their private ceremony was held over a weekend, confirmed by Jodie's representative. Back in October 2013, the pair were only seeing one another with labels, but they managed to keep their lips sealed shut about the relationship in general until way later on. Still married to this day, Jodie and Alexandra made their first public appearance together that same October during a Beverly Hills Performing Arts Gala at the Wallace Annenberg Center.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Tom Cruise. When it comes to Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes relationship, it makes a lot more sense than the obsessed tabloids diving in to learn about why the couple truly went their separate ways. Even though the press breathlessly covered every aspect of the pair's relationship, a lot of people still have no idea what led to their split. But if you follow Tom's admission about Scientology and his role within the controversial religion, then you might be one of those people that concluded his religion was solely responsible for their split. However, in reality, it seems naive since their relationship was far more complicated to believe that the couple split for that very reason, but was saying that it did play a major role in the divorce since Katie had to make it clear that her daughter needed to be protected from Tom in the church. Not to mention, even Tom was able to get it approved that Katie couldn't date for 5 years following the couple's divorce so it wouldn't embarrass him, which proves that he was a little controlling in his marriage with Katie. Number 9. Amber Heard. After just a year of being married, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard would call it quits. And during this time, Amber would make some absurd comments about why she chose to leave Johnny, where she claimed their relationship was crumbling because of his heavy drinking, substance use, violence, and domestic abuse. While friends of Johnny leaped to the star's defense and called Amber a gold digger who was just fabricating all of those claims in order to squeeze as much money as she could from their brief union. While the whole world was beginning to choose to take Amber's side, many people should have really listened to Johnny's friends, as they were right, as Amber was really just a vindictive ex that wanted to ruin Johnny's career. Ultimately, however, though, during the pair's divorce, Johnny agreed to pay Amber $7 million, and Amber pledged to donate the money to charity, something Amber never ended up doing. Later, Johnny was then able to repair his reputation in Hollywood after he won his defamation case against Amber Heard and sued her for $15 million in the process. Coming number 8, we have Angelina Jolie. While Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie first met on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, both were still very much married to other people. While Angelina was with Billy Bob Thornton, Brad was with Jennifer Aniston, and it started off to be one of the most scandalous relationships Hollywood has ever seen, and it soon morphed into one of Hollywood's most solid, stable marriages, despite frequent tabloid stories that started to say cracks were starting to form in their relationship. And those rumors turned out to be more true than we realized, as when the pair announced their plans to divorce back in September 2016, things immediately took an ugly turn as Angelina started to make huge accusations that claimed Brad had gotten physical with not just her but one of the couple's children during a fight on a private jet. While the accusations have been one giant spectacle, some have extended compassion to Jolie and her kids, while others have sided with Pitt as they have started to expose Angelina's dark past and painted her as a vindictive ex on a mission to ruin Brad's reputation the same way Amber Heard did to Johnny Depp. Number 7. Kris Jenner. 11 months after Bruce Jenner, who is now known as Caitlyn Jenner, and Kris announced their separation, they would soon head towards a divorce after being married to each other for over 25 years. The divorce would follow up with the tabloids claiming that Bruce was planning on transitioning. Those reports ended up being true, as the Olympic gold medalist soon re-emerged to the public as Caitlyn Jenner. While in the beginning Kris tried to play things off and make everybody believe that their split was amicable, that would all soon change after Caitlyn decided to publish a memoir called Secrets of My Life. And in this memoir, Caitlyn painted an unflattering portrait of Kris, which resulted in Kris bash Caitlyn publicly on her family's reality TV show, of course, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she said she's just literally started 3 families with 3 different people and effed everyone over. And it really makes you wonder if it was Caitlyn who effed Kris over, or was it Kris who effed Caitlyn over. Number 6. Kanye West. The epic split between Kim Kardashian and Kanye West was an epic mess. With its generous cast of plus ones, parenting responsibilities, brand fortunes, a family TV franchise, political and racial trolling, it became a perfect divorce for the Instagram age. Even though Kanye spent most of the divorce process trolling the Kardashians, the split appeared to be progressing smoothly enough. While no split is easy, Kanye definitely made things hard for Kim, especially when she was trying to move on with Pete Davidson. Kanye was so mad about Kim moving on that he even started to troll Pete, and it got to the point that Pete even had to take a step back from the relationship, split from Kim, so he could focus on his mental health. Kim then started to weigh in her options as Kanye started to hit the headlines for his very controversial comments amid his equally controversial presidential campaign. In the end, Kanye would lose around $2.1 billion of his assets, not to mention the billions of dollars that he lost from agencies and brands dropping him as a client. Number 5. Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods was married to model Ellen Nordegren, he started to go viral after Tiger cheated on her. Headlines would soon start to claim that Ellen attacked the famous golfer with a golf club right after she learned about his infidelity, which led to subsequent revelations that he had been carrying on in numerous affairs with multiple women throughout their relationship. The ensuing scandal would then go on to cost the golfer millions of dollars as he lost endorsement deals, and then when the pair's divorce was finally settled, it would be reported that the golfer lost millions again, as he was then forced to fork out $100 million to pay his ex-wife. Not only did Tiger's career end, but he also lost between $5 to $12 billion, and then he had to spend 45 days in therapy. Number 4. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's ill-fated marriage to Denise Richards ended in 2005 with a seemingly endless parade of bombshells that came from Denise as she painted a picture to the public about what it was like actually to be married to Charlie Sheen. Denise's allegations against Charlie included violence, substances, X-rated videos, escorts, threats, and even more. Charlie then would not do him any favors as he would then start to refer to Denise with such charming epithets, such as the time he called her a washed up piglet shame pile. Since the two got divorced, the exes have somewhat appeared to be friendly and other times not, as if you go back to January of 2016, Denise would sue Charlie for more than $1 million, claiming that he evicted Denise and her children from the home he purchased for her and their children, where she would also allege in court documents that he once even told their daughter Lola that she was a pig and told her that he was going to end her and Denise. Number 3. Heather Mills. When Paul McCartney's 6-year marriage to Heather Mills came to a bitter end in 2008, Heather would be quick to claim that the former Beatle member was constantly stoned throughout their marriage and that he ultimately held back her career. While Paul went on to deny Heather's accusations, like he should, Heather would soon start to paint herself to be a gold digger as she started to seek half of Paul's fortune, which was estimated at being hundreds of millions at the time. In the end, Heather was able to walk away with $50 million in settlement, as apparently there was no prenup. To say otherwise, since the divorce, Paul has admitted that marrying Heather was a prime contender for being the biggest mistake he's ever made in his life. And since the star has remarried, Heather every now and then continues to attempt to drag his name into the mud as she talks to the press, like the time she mentioned that the only reason Paul was still working with Kanye and Rihanna was due to the fact that the star was desperate to stay relevant. But he's always been relevant. Number 2. Jesse James. When Sandra Bullock was married to Jesse James, life couldn't have been any better for the actress, as she had just won her first Oscar and she was in the process of adopting her son David, all while she was happily married to motorcycle consumer and Discovery Channel host Jesse James. What appeared to be a solid union, however, all came crashing down when the tabloids started to reveal that Jesse and Sandra's relationship wasn't as perfect as we all thought. When the media outlets all over the world started to admit that Jesse had been cheating on the American sweetheart with a bevy of heavily tattooed biker type women, the marriage ended shortly after, and since the two have gone their separate ways, Jesse consistently describes himself as being the most hated man in the world, but honestly, now he's just become the most forgotten man in the world. And coming in number 1 today, we have Mary Harvey. So when comedian and TV host Steve Harvey, best known for his role in the game show Family Feud, filed for a divorce from his second wife, Mary Harvey, when their divorce was finally settled in 2005, with Mary receiving 3 of the couple's homes as well as $40,000 a month until 2009. The ugliness didn't seem to stop. Even after their divorce was finalized, as in 2013, Mary had to spend 20 days in the slammer for violating a confidentiality clause in the divorce agreement, and in spring of 2017 launched a $60 million lawsuit against her ex and accused the Family Feud host, among other things, as being a soul sucker. She went on to describe her life in the marriage as being a combination of torture, deprivation, and brainwashing. These attorneys then responded by dismissing her suit as meritless, frivolous, and completely false.
At number 10, Mike Cosson. I stand by the saying, once a cheater, always a cheater, and so do a lot of other people who've been in failed relationships. Once your partner does you wrong, it takes a lot to regain that trust, and sometimes after a bond is broken, it can never be mended. This seems to have been the case with football player Mike Cosson and his wife, singer and actress Jana Kramer. The couple faced a cheating scandal back in 2016, and after that they spent the next few years trying to work on their marriage, trying to reconcile after this drama affected them so greatly, but the couple recently called it quits on on their marriage when Jana took to social media in late April to announce their divorce. Her message to the public read, quote, "It's time. As I try to make sense of a reality I never wanted to believe could be possible again, those words have now become a reality. I've fought, y'all. I've loved hard. I've forgiven. I've put the work in. I've given everything I have, and now I have nothing else to give." End quote. The couple briefly split following the cheating scandal I mentioned before, where Mike's secrets were exposed, and though they were able to make amends to try and work on regaining their bond, things just weren't meant to work out in the long term, it seems. In her filings, Jana also cited the causes and reasons for their divorce, saying that, quote, "Inappropriate marital conduct, irreconcilable differences, and adultery were the reasons behind their failed marriage." At number 9, Bill Gates. When news first broke of Bill and Melinda Gates' divorce, it came as a shock to a lot of people, but once more information started to come out about Melinda's side of the relationship, people got to see that the divorce was fueled by a lot of Bill's actions. We have been finding out about how unhappy Melinda was in her marriage, but it turns out that the tipping point in the couple's marriage came after Bill started getting a little too close to Jeffrey Epstein. Information has come out suggesting that Melinda had made the decision to begin the divorcing process in 2019 after a report by the New York Times had linked Bill and Jeffrey. Melinda had previously warned Bill about Epstein and his business when they first met back in 2013. However, despite her forewarnings, Bill allegedly continued to meet with Epstein, later leading him to getting exposed for their friendship when Epstein was arrested in 2019. Melinda allegedly wanted to get out of her marriage as soon as she realized that Bill was in too deep with Epstein because she knew that their connection would end badly and she did not want to deal with that. If Bill hadn't gotten so close to Epstein, maybe things would have been different. Now, before we carry on with the list, I would like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also head on over to my gaming channel Viper Girl if you're interested in gaming content, because I have lots of fun stuff going on over there and you don't want to miss it, so go check it out and subscribe while you're there. At number 8, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Cheating scandals can be a huge deal among celebrities, and this next one is kind of chaotic and very messy. Basically, actor and former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was caught in a very messy and high-profile cheating scandal that not only brought life into the world, but also ruined relationships. In 1997, Arnold had an affair with the family's former housekeeper Patty, and she soon became pregnant with his son. At the very same time, his wife was also expecting their 4th kid. As if the universe was wanting to make things extra spicy for Arnold, both his wife and mistress ended up giving birth within 5 days of each other, though they wouldn't find out about this until about a decade later. Much like all secrets, they have to come out eventually, and Arnold ended up coming clean to his wife about his affair in 2007. This information wasn't immediately shared with the public until 2011, where things blew up. Arnold revealed his infidelity to the public after announcing that he and his wife Maria were separating, while also revealing the truth about his kid with his mistress. This scandal hit his family really hard and it ruined many of his relationships. At number 7, Jesse James. If you've ever been cheated on, then you know how awful it is. Finding out that your partner has been unfaithful is always heartbreaking, but finding out that it happened multiple times is a feeling that I honestly couldn't imagine. Serial cheating is something that greatly affected Jesse James and drag racer Alexis DeJouria's relationship after it was discovered that there was a lot of secrets being kept and a lot of infidelity. After a very messy cheating scandal, Jesse and Alexis ended their relationship after 7 years together. This breakup was really chaotic for the both of them because it was revealed that Jesse had cheated on his wife with at least 20 different women. According to some sources, Jesse would sneak many women into his house, as well as fly women out to Austin where he lived to hook up with them in hotel rooms. It was also reported that even after everything Jesse did, Alexis tried to work things out with him, but he wasn't interested in making things work with her. Cheating is always the one way to completely destroy your relationship with someone, and Jesse is known for doing this since he also had a similar scandal with Sandra Bullock while they were together. At number 6, Joe Exotic. Wondering what's going on with Joe Exotic? Probably not, but I'll tell you anyway. After rising to fame last year following the Tiger King documentary, some people decided to check in on Joe Exotic from time to time, even though he's behind bars. Joe was sent to prison for his crimes, including his attempt at ending the life of his rival, Carol Baskin, as well as animal endangerment. In the docuseries, we also learned about Joe's personal life, including his relationship with his husband Dylan Passage. Dylan was one of the few men that Joe was married to, but now we're learning that a long-distance relationship from behind bars isn't the healthiest, as Joe and Dylan have announced their divorce. Dylan told sources that things have been very difficult to maintain when your partner is in jail for the next 20 years or so, and so they made the decision to end their marriage. If Joe didn't commit the crimes that he did, then maybe things would have been different and he would still be married. Joe has said that Dylan was helping him get through his time in prison, so now it seems like he'll be going it alone. At number 5, Brad Pitt. The last few marriages Brad Pitt has been in have not been the most successful, and he's kind of to blame. Before Brad and Angelina were able to take Hollywood by storm as a power couple, Brad and Jennifer Aniston instant word thing, and they had a good thing going for a while until infidelity came in and ruined things. The couple got married in 2000 in a ceremony in Malibu, but come 2005, things started to break down. Brad and Angelina met while working on the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith in the summer of that year, and Brad fell hard for Angie. There was some cheating involved, and eventually Brad and Jen split up, making room for Angelina to enter the picture. Fast forward about a decade and the couple got married, only to divorce shortly after that because of some family drama among other things. Brad seems to be really good at destroying his marriages, and honestly that's not a good talent to have. At number 4, Eminem. Rapper Eminem, aka Marshall Mathers, has had a rocky relationship with his ex-wife Kim Scott, and it's sort of been that way since the very beginning. They met in the late 80s when Marshall was 15 and Kim was 13, and they became pretty dependent on each other. They lived together at his family home, later beginning a romantic relationship, moving in together, and having a daughter. After years of being an on-again, off-again couple, the two got married shortly before Marshall's first major tour. It was then that Kim saw Marshall and their relationship as imperfect, and she started to doubt whether she wanted this type of life for herself. Kim said that after the tour, Marshall got a big ego, and he started treating her as someone that was not worthy of his love and presence because he was a big star. Kim also alleged that her husband had been cheating on her. The rapper's career had a very negative effect on their relationship, and so 2 years after tying the knot, they divorced. Maybe Eminem wasn't ready to handle the fame he was getting, and that's what affected the relationship, but the bottom line here is that Kim didn't like how he had changed and how she was being treated, so she left. At number 3, Jude Law. Jude Law was involved in a cheating scandal in the early 2000s that destroyed his marriage to Sienna Miller and left a lot of people a little taken aback. After getting engaged in 2004, Jude Law was exposed for cheating on his fiancée with a woman named Daisy Wright. In 2006, Daisy, the nanny for Jude's children, came forward about how she and Jude were allegedly having an affair. She ended up spilling the beans on their entire relationship in an interview she did with the Sunday Mirror, and she went in depth about her affair with the actor, sharing every scandalous detail. A lot of people were shocked to hear about this whole affair, but eventually Jude came clean to the public about everything and issued an apology to Sienna. He ruined his marriage to be because he decided to cheat, so that's pretty unfortunate that their marriage ended before it even began. At number 2, Jay-Z. Even the biggest celebrity couples have their problems. Take Beyonce and Jay-Z for example. Though this couple is seen by many as a Hollywood power couple, always standing by each other's sides, even they have had their troubles with infidelity. It all started when Solange and Jay-Z got into that big elevator fight at the Met. There was a lot of drama surrounding that fight because no one really knew what provoked it until word came out saying that it was because Jay-Z had cheated. Though no one really acknowledged or spoke about this apparent infidelity, things got worse when Beyonce low-key exposed her husband's infidelity on her album Lemonade, where she made several subtle and not so subtle comments on her husband's alleged affair. Jay-Z had to respond with his music where he apologized to his wife for his infidelity and addressed some of their relationship issues. After all this drama both in and out of the music world, they were able to seek out couples therapy and rebuild their relationship, but for a while there, things looked bad and Jay-Z had pretty much destroyed the relationship for a bit. And finally, at number 1, Kanye West. Kanye has been through a lot lately. He lost the presidential race and now he's lost his marriage. Kim and Kanye's relationship looked like it had been on his last life for a while, especially after all of that drama between Kanye and the Kardashians following his presidential campaign rant and Twitter meltdowns. There was, however, a lot more going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about. Apparently, there came a point where things just became too complicated and too toxic to handle. Kim talked about some of the rocky things that happened with her and Kanye towards the end, like how he spent much of his time away from his family in Wyoming and how the communication was at an all-time low. There was also reports that Kim and Kanye were fighting a lot, and there was also a rumor that Kanye had tried to sleep with another woman while married to Kim. According to the reality star, Kanye also didn't really want to contribute to fixing the relationship, even though they both knew that things weren't working anymore, so maybe if he had just put more effort in, things would have been different. At number 10, Alex Rodriguez. Now, even though they weren't technically married, Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez still had the intention of doing so. That is until things got messy and Alex was caught cheating in a huge scandal. We don't know for certain why Alex and J-Lo broke up after all this time, but we can imagine that the cheating scandal definitely played a part in the relationship's demise, destroying their dreams of getting married. Cheating scandals aren't anything new for the baseball player, having been accused of infidelity in the past, but this new scandal might have been the one where J-Lo has said enough is enough. In January of this year, Alex was accused of cheating on J-Lo with reality star Madison LaCroix. This rumor started circulating after LaCroix was accused of having an alleged affair with a former MLB player, and this was brought up during a taping of a reality reunion show. Shortly after the taping aired, these allegations escalated with Madison admitting to having been in contact with A-Rod. She insisted that their communications were innocent, saying that they never met up and never had any physical contact, saying, quote, "He's never physically cheated on his fiancée with me," end quote. The only solid proof that we have of A-Rod being in contact with Madison comes from a close source to Alex, who told sources that he had slid into Madison's DMs and that they had exchanged some, quote, "thirsty photos." Not long after this all went down, A-Rod and J-Lo announced their breakup and called off their engagement, effectively destroying the marriage before it could even happen. At number 9, Gary Owen. Imagine throwing 20 years of marriage out the window. Well, that's essentially what Gary Owen did after his wife Kenya Duke found out that he had been cheating. Kenya Duke filed for divorce in March of this year, making allegations that her husband had been unfaithful in their marriage. After news broke of their divorce filing, Kenya took to her Instagram to imply that her husband had an affair with a woman from Dallas, someone who was mutual friends with Gary and reality star Claudia Jordan. In a now deleted Instagram post, Kenya sent a message to the other woman, whom she lovingly calls Dallas, Texas, saying, quote, "Dallas, Texas, I have your info. I'm going to deal with you in a minute. I'm a little busy right now. You can have him, but you can't disrespect me and my kids in the process." At Gary Owen Comedy, let her know a storm is coming. You should know better. Married, not separated. Married, end quote. But Kenya wasn't done clapping back, because she also followed up this message with one that was meant for her husband, where she said, quote, "All the energy you spent lying, acting, and creating a fake narrative for these women that want to be me, you could have done it with a veggie burger and a glass of fake filtered water," end quote. Other than what's being said on social media, their divorce seems to be being taken care of privately, so as far as I know, this Dallas, Texas person hasn't been exposed, but one thing is for sure, this marriage is well and truly destroyed. Now, before I carry on with the list, I would like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also take some time to check out my gaming channel Viper Girl if you're interested in Minecraft content. I've got lots of fun things going on over there, so come check it out and subscribe while you're there. At number 8, Offset. Now, before you come at me saying, "Well, Brie, Cardi and Offset are still together," I know that, but because of all the drama that these two have had in the past during their marriage, and the fact that they almost got divorced, I think it's safe to say that things at one point had been destroyed, and it's honestly kind of debatable whether things are actually okay now or not. Though they've been married for over 3 years and have a daughter together, that apparently hasn't stopped Offset from seeking comfort elsewhere. As I mentioned, Cardi even filed for divorce from Offset in 2020 because of his infidelity, though they later got back together after he spoiled her for her birthday, buying her a $300,000 car and dedicating a billboard to her. Offset has had a number of cheating scandals over the course of his relationship with Cardi B. In 2018, about a year after the couple first got married in secret, Offset faced rumors that he had cheated on Cardi and even made an adult film with another woman. Back in 2020, he faced more cheating allegations where it was rumored that he even fathered a child during this affair. A lot of people say that this is a toxic relationship, but they keep coming back to each other, and Cardi is currently pregnant with their second child. Things seem to be rocky, but we'll just have to wait for the next cheating scandal to come along, I guess. At number 7, Kevin Hunter Sr. Back in 2019, talk show host Wendy Williams told her audience that she had been cheated on and exposed her husband for having a huge affair. Her 20-year marriage to Kevin Hunter was destroyed after he was accused of not only cheating on Wendy, but also fathering another woman's child. When reports broke of Kevin's affair with his massage therapist, revealing that his mistress had given birth to their child, Wendy finally said enough is enough and called it quits on their marriage. When speaking out about the whole affair, Wendy said, quote, "Look, my husband had a full baby with a woman he was involved with for 15 years. Infidelity is one thing, a full baby is a whole nother topic. A baby. I'm not changing Pampers. I want to be pampered. I learned from my mother to make lemons into lemonade. What am I supposed to do? Stay in the house and cry all day?" End quote. Following this explosive divorce, Kevin issued an apology to his wife where he said, quote, "I'm not proud of my recent actions and take full responsibility and apologize to my wife, my family, and her amazing fans. I'm going through a time of self-reflection and am trying to right some wrongs." End quote. I couldn't imagine being caught in something as dramatic and emotionally painful as what Wendy went through with her ex-husband, so I feel for her. At number 6, Corey Bowen. Now, this is an example of how you destroy not only a marriage, but people's lives as well. For the Hills star Audrina Patridge and BMX athlete Corey Bowen, their relationship was downright toxic. After about 7 years of dating, the couple got engaged in November of 2015 and were soon married by the following year after welcoming their daughter Kira into the world. But the happy days of marriage didn't last long, and by 2018 their marriage had been destroyed and they were done with each other and the legal battle began. Audrina alleged in court that Corey was violent towards her, and leading up to their official divorce, Audrina had been granted a restraining order, preventing Corey from being within 100 feet of his wife and daughter. Audrina claimed that Corey had been very aggressive towards her on multiple occasions and that she just couldn't take it anymore. Luckily, she was able to get out of that abusive relationship and probably regrets getting into it in the first place. I hate hearing about stories like this where a partner hurts another like this. It is heartbreaking and should never happen to anyone. At number 5, Tom D'Agostino. Even though she was warned about Tom and his infidelity, Real Housewives of New York cast member Luann D'Agostino went through with her marriage to her now ex-husband, and she regrets it because their marriage was destroyed almost instantly. After getting married in a New Year's wedding in 2016, at the end of the Real Housewives 8th season, it was revealed that one of the cast members had compromising photos of Tom kissing another woman just days after his and Luann's engagement party, literally just a little while before they officially got married. Soon it became apparent to the public that there was some serious problems in their relationship as Luann and Tom got into a heated argument at a restaurant, which ended with Luann slapping Tom across the face. This heated relationship and Tom's constant cheating never subsided, as days before their divorce announcement, Tom was caught with another woman, but at that point, no one was really surprised. They were only married for 7 months, and those were the craziest 7 months of their lives. This marriage kept getting more and more destroyed the more that Luann found out about what Tom had been doing in secret. To find that out about your partner must be so heartbreaking. At number 4, Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson and ex-wife Evelyn Lozada were only married for 2 months, but so much happened in that short amount of time to permanently damage their relationship and destroy their marriage. Their relationship was intense, but it wasn't until after they were married that the world learned just how intense it was. After dating for less than a year, the two were wed in a 4th of July ceremony in 2012, but just 2 months later there came an incident that broke them forever. Evelyn recalled finding a receipt in Chad's car that prompted the idea that Chad was cheating. The two fought and it ended with Chad seriously injuring his wife. Chad had been arrested for battery and domestic violence, and they ended up getting divorced shortly after the incident. Evelyn later did an interview about the ordeal where she opened up about her feelings on the situation, and the two have gone their separate ways since. Violent behavior is never the answer and is certainly a one-way ticket to destroying your relationship for good. At number 3, Prince Charles. Even though they were the world's most popular couple at one time, Prince Charles and Princess Diana had plenty of problems, and most of those problems stemmed from Prince Charles. For years, people had been aware of Charles's love triangle between Diana and Camilla Parker Bowles, and this very love triangle is what ultimately caused their marriage to fail miserably. She was always the second best in Charles's eyes, having never gotten over his infatuation for Camilla, a woman that he was told he could never have. Charles and Diana got married in 1981 and had 2 kids together, but because of Charles's extramarital affairs and Diana's unhappiness in the relationship, they got divorced in 1996. Diana said that she regretted marrying Charles because she always knew that there would always be 3 in the marriage: her, Charles, and Camilla. She certainly deserved so much better, but got Charles instead. But even though she didn't feel the love from her husband, she did feel the love from the rest of the world. At number 2, Madonna and Guy Ritchie. This relationship was one of the most toxic, both while they were together and especially afterwards. Madonna and Guy Ritchie have been divorced for over 10 years, but just because their marriage ended so long ago, that doesn't necessarily mean that their hatred towards one another has ended. The two were married for almost a decade, but their distaste for one another has lasted much longer, and because of this negativity, they no doubt regret ever getting married in the first place. This relationship is a case of both parties playing a part in destroying it because they both brought up their own levels of toxicity and it just blew up in their faces. It seemed like their marriage turned sour because Madonna was working so hard on her career, so things became strained between them and the hostility began to grow. Coming out of the divorce, the worst of it started to come out. Guy made a lot of harsh comments about his marriage to Madonna, comparing his relationship with the singer to a soap opera, and also said that she was more concerned about her public image than she was with the marriage. Madonna also fired back at her ex in the past, saying that she felt like she was incarcerated during their marriage and that Guy was nothing but a gold digger. There was just a whole lot of drama there, which really shows that they weren't a good match at all. And finally, at number 1, Tiger Woods. After his 2009 bombshell cheating scandal, Tiger Woods' relationship with his wife completely crumbled and the whole world watched it happen. It all started after Tiger crashed his Cadillac into a fire hydrant, and this incident made headlines, but it also drew attention to another headline that he had made days earlier after tabloids published a story alleging that Tiger was having an affair with a nightclub manager. Soon the focus switched from the crash to this affair drama, and one alleged affair turned into many more as 6 women ended up coming forward saying that they had also had had intimate relationships with the golfer. Soon his marriage crumbled and he lost everything he had worked for, both in his personal life and also in his career.
And at number 10, Kris Humphries and Kim Kardashian. This is the wedding that no one's going to forget because after everything leading up to the union, it only lasted a measly 72 days. The reality TV star and basketball player seemed madly in love, and the couple documented basically their entire relationship on Kim's reality TV show, along with their lavish wedding ceremony. However, there was a lot of tension between the couple during the filming of their wedding process, leading some to think their days were numbered. And since they divorced only 72 days later, those people were right. Following the split, many people thought the marriage was just a publicity stunt. That rumor got so big that Humphries actually used the theory in his divorce proceedings. The divorce was so messy that it wasn't finalized until over 2 years later. And at number 9, Drew Barrymore and Tom Green. Drew Barrymore and Tom Green split after only 5 months of marriage, and usually when marriages last only a few months, there's a lot of bad blood between the former couple. But thankfully with these two, that's not the case. They even made a point to tell their fans not to go after their former partners. Both Green and Barrymore released statements praising their former spouses, proving that it is possible to remain civil after marriage. Green said about Barrymore, quote, "Drew is a wonderful woman. I love her very much. I wish our marriage could have worked out. I wish her much happiness." And at number 8, Nicolas Cage and Lisa Marie Presley. This marriage got even more attention than the usual celebrity weddings because Elvis's only daughter, Lisa Marie, was getting married. The couple even paid homage to Presley's late father and got married on the 25th anniversary of his passing in 2002. However, everyone was heartbroken when the couple announced that they would be divorcing only 3 months later. At the time, both parties were incredibly secretive about the reasoning for the split. Cage even said, quote, "I did not talk about the marriage and I'm not going to talk about the divorce." Years later, it was clear the marriage was probably just too fast, and the pair didn't think it through. Presley said later on, quote, "I'm sad about this, but we shouldn't have been married in the first place." And at number 7, Britney Spears and Jason Alexander. Britney Spears and her childhood friend Jason Alexander got married and then divorced in a record 55 hours. The split didn't come as a shock to those that knew the full story though. What happened was that both of them traveled to Las Vegas to celebrate New Year's Eve, and they decided to meet up well there, along with a few of their other friends. The pair were not planning on getting married because they weren't even dating at the time, but things changed very fast, and at the end of the night they were married in a Vegas chapel. But the very next day, Spears filed for an annulment. The reasoning was that Spears, quote, "lacked understanding of her actions and she was incapable of agreeing to the marriage." And at number 6, Nikki Hilton and Todd Andrew Meester. This couple is another one that had a quickie Vegas wedding and soon regretted it. The two married in 2004 in a ceremony that was at 2:30 a.m. And if you listen to Ted Mosby, you know that nothing good happens after 2 a.m. I personally live by that rule. Her sister Paris Hilton was in attendance and Jeff Beecher was the best man. Beecher spoke about the ceremony days after, saying, quote, "It was a beautiful small wedding with an amazing energy. The two of them are very much in love." However, their love didn't last and the couple got their wedding annulled just before 3 months of marriage. Halfway number 5, Eddie Murphy and Tracy Edmonds. This is one of the weddings that family and friends were pretty sure was not going to last based on the couple's interaction before the wedding. This one honestly reminds me a lot of Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. The couple decided to wed on a private island off Bora Bora on New Year's Day in 2008, but sources later told People magazine that the couple was in shambles leading up to the wedding. The source said, quote, "Eddie started yelling at Tracy in front of people. He did it on a few occasions and it was very embarrassing." 2 weeks after the rocky ceremony, they announced that they were splitting. They also claimed the wedding was only a symbolic union, not a legally binding marriage in the United States. I guess that made things a lot easier. And at number 4, Renee Zellweger and Kenny Chesney. This couple decided to get an annulment 4 months after the wedding, and at the time, the split raised a lot of questions about Chesney's sexual orientation. However, both partners denied this. Zellweger filed for divorce on September 15th of 2005, citing fraud as the reason for the split, raising even more eyebrows. However, she later said the fraud claim was just a lie to have the annulment go through. When asked about the marriage and divorce years later, Zellweger said, quote, "I forgot about that. It's a pretty big thing to forget, isn't it? That made me sad," adding that it made her sad that a personal decision between the two of them could spark those kind of rumors. And at number 3, Kid Rock and Pamela Anderson. Many thought these two would be a match made in heaven because model and rocker couples were very common at that time. However, this was not the case. days, and the couple split after 4 months together. At the time, there were lots of rumors speculating what went wrong. One rumor that got a lot of attention said that they split because Anderson was in the Borat movie and Kid Rock was jealous. But Kid Rock actually revealed on the Howard Stern show that money disputes and family drama were the real reason for the split. Years later, when asked if the former couple kept in touch, Kid Rock said, quote, "Not really. If I saw her somewhere, I'd say hi, but I try not to go in the same circles. I touched the stove was hot, and I think I'm not gonna touch the stove anymore." And number 2, Cher and Greg Allman. Cher and Greg Allman got married in 1975, only days after her divorce from Sonny was finalized, but the union only lasted 10 days before Cher decided to file for divorce, citing Allman's substance issues as part of the reason why. But that was not the end of their time together. After their divorce, the couple decided to get back together shortly after and remarried, but they were about to split again until Cher realized that she was pregnant with their son, Elijah Blue Allman. The couple only stayed together for a few months longer until they split for good in 1977. During their time together, they made an album called To the Hard Way. And at number 1, Ali Landry and Mario Lopez. Ali Landry and Mario Lopez got married in 2004, but it started off on a horrible note because Lopez had been with another woman just days before, clearly not interested in getting married. However, instead of coming clean and admitting to the cheating before the wedding, Lopez decided to pretend it didn't happen. But the truth always comes out, and after Landry found out about the cheating, she filed for an annulment. This took place 18 days after the wedding. Lopez discussed the wedding more on the Howard Stern show, saying, quote, "At that point, I was not ready to settle down. I wasn't man enough to know how to go about handling it. But things worked out well for the couple, and they're both happily married just to other people now."
Number 10. Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian. One fateful night in October 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted Saturday Night Live and starred alongside Pete Davidson in a sketch parodying Aladdin. While the two may have played lovers on stage, even sharing a brief kiss during the scene, the romance continued long after the curtains were drawn, as Kim claimed the kiss gave her a little zing. And a month later, her and Pete started being regularly seen together in public, and eventually revealing that they were in fact dating for about 9 months. They were traveling, they were shopping, and raising Northwest, Kim's daughter. Pete even got a tattoo at one point to show his loyalty to the family union, which sounds hardcore for some, but for Pete it's just another Tuesday. All of this is coming off the heels of Kim's recent divorce from rapper Kanye West, which left the three as targets of a media frenzy, and having every moment of their drama posted online for the world to see. After 9 months, the couple split and Pete started dating someone new, but that didn't last very long, as at this year's Met Gala, Kim and Pete had a reunion on the red carpet, and Pete was reportedly seen staring longingly into Kim's eyes as they spoke about their feelings, and he spoke about nothing but vibes between the two. That's cute. But these two getting back together is definitely in the near future. Here's hoping that it's 10 months this time.
Number 9. John Mayer and Jessica Simpson. If there's one thing that Hollywood knows by now, it's that John Mayer is a bit of a playboy. His reputation as a womanizer definitely precedes him, so that's why everyone at one point was really surprised to see him with Jessica Simpson. He raised eyebrows when he used the phrase sexual napalm to describe his romance with Simpson, and even compared her to a certain illicit substance that he said he couldn't get enough of. The couple dated for a year, but they broke up several times throughout their relationship. In fact, sources close to the couple told people that things were always on and off between the pair, and they had arguments constantly. Unfortunately, 2006 marked the year that they decided to finally split for good. The couple was on vacation in Mexico when there were photos snapped of them arguing on the balcony of their room. Jessica looked like she was in tears, and it was undoubtedly a breakup. The news of their split came shortly after the photos were released, meaning there's a good chance that the paparazzi actually captured the moment when Jessica and John called things off for good.
Number 8. Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. The pair first met in 2014 when Cabello, a member of the group Fifth Harmony, and Shawn Mendes were opening acts for singer Austin Mahone on his tour. They were often seen backstage engaging in intimate conversations, with Cabello claiming that Mendes was one of the only people on that tour that would ever actually come up and say hi to her. Following the tour, the pair kept in touch, sparking relationship rumors that would continue for about 4 years. They would often post videos of themselves covering love songs together, as well as several photos suggesting that they were always going on excursions or just spending a lot of their free time together. But it wasn't until 2019 that the pair would be spotted by TMZ holding hands and kissing in public at a 4th of July party, and the confirmation was clear. They were inseparable for almost 2 years, posting hundreds of photos of their adventures together and an excess amount of PDA as well. Like, guys, calm down. When suddenly in November 2021, the couple announced that they would be ending their romantic romantic relationship, but that their love for each other as humans was stronger than ever. Okay, whatever that means. 3 months later, Camilla revealed the breakup was the result of shifting priorities professionally, but maybe a little breather was all they needed, since at Coachella in 2023, they were seen making out, seemingly back together, or possibly stirring a toxic pot of getting back with your ex when you know it's a bad idea. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Number 7. Bradley Cooper and Irina Shayk. Bradley Cooper and Irina Shayk were one of the power couples in Hollywood. The two dated for nearly 4 years before calling it quits in 2019. However, the two have created many memories which fans fondly remember, even one of them at the famed tennis tournament. Paparazzi caught what looked like a super awkward argument between actor Bradley Cooper and his model girlfriend at the 2016 Wimbledon's men final. In the video footage from that day, Bradley was caught whispering into Irina's ear while she appears to cry and turn her head away from the actor. She appeared to be dabbing tears out of her eyes and then crossed her arms and refused to look at him. In the video, he then went back to watching the tennis and she just sat in silence beside him. While it's not clear why the two were really fighting or what they could have been possibly fighting about, but that didn't stop people online from speculating wildly the way the internet loves to do. Some even suggested that Bradley and Irina were fighting over his ex-girlfriend Suki Waterhouse. Although it feels like you can almost cut the tension with a knife, TMZ later reported that sources close to the couple claimed Irina was simply battling pollen allergies. Well, it really could have been anything.
Number 6. Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. This bad romance started in the early 1990s when the two first met at a nightclub, and 6 weeks later they flew to Cancun for a weekend getaway of wholesome family fun, I'm sure, only to be married to each other 96 hours later. Their romance quickly soured, however, when they returned to California to find that a scorned electrician, Rand Gunther, who had recently been fired from a job working for Lee, had procured a certain tape. This tape showed the couple being intimate together and he wanted them to pay. Anderson and Lee filed a $10 million lawsuit to attempt to prevent the tape from being published, but the suit was eventually dropped. The couple have come clean in interviews saying that not being able to do anything about the tape was adding way too much stress and frustration to their relationship, and the couple called it quits in 1998. They were on and off over the years, with Anderson even briefly being married to musician Kid Rock in 2007 and Rick Solomon, who was a champion poker player, in 2008. Pam and Tommy would eventually get back together towards the end of 2008, but even moving the family back in with Tommy wasn't enough, because the reunion was very short-lived, as the couple would call it quits for good about 2 years later.
Number 5. Jessie Nelson and Jake Roche. When the former couple arrived together at the album release party for Little Mix's Get Weird in 2015, they were supposed to be in high spirits for the event, but the evening soon took a turn for the worst, as somehow it ended up with Jessie crying. It was reported that Jessie allegedly had a massive fight with her then fiance before she decided she had had enough and stormed out. A source told the Daily Mirror newspaper that the girls had been having a great night, drinking and even dancing on the tables the whole night until the early hours. But somewhere around the AM, Jessie and Jake had a tiff, and Jake stomped off to a nearby hotel, and Jessie was clearly sobbing and she took a cab home. The singer was spotted leaving the venue in London and hopping into a cab in the early hours of the morning, with makeup smudged around her face and eyes bloodshot after the fight. The couple announced their split the following year, so it looked like in this case the fight may have been indicative of a larger issue in their relationship. According to reports, the reason they split was because Jessie wanted to start a family, but Jake, who was only 24, felt that he was too young to be a father and that they had the rest of their lives to have children.
Number 4. Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. Miley admitted to dating her co-star from the film The Last Song in 2010, but the romance has been anything but picturesque. In June of that same year, Miley denied rumors that there had been a split taking place between the pair, but in August, the rumors had been confirmed. The couple was quietly on and off again a few more times before publicly announcing their reconciliation in April 2011. And in 2012, they were engaged, and all seemed to be back on track. But the bad news came in like a wrecking ball as the reports began surfacing of Liam Hemsworth cheating on Miley. Within a few months of the engagement, they announced that the couple had called the wedding off and has since maintained an air of secrecy about their exact relationship. But we have to wonder, does she still got that ring though?
Number 3. Johnny McGade and Courtney Cox. These two are also known for their on-again, off-again relationship, and after getting back together once again after a brief split, the actress and her musician boyfriend were seen arguing outside a West London restaurant and appeared to be exchanging heated words as they dined outside. During Courtney's visit to the British capital, in one shot the former Friends actress can be seen waving her arms and phone in front of Johnny's face, while in another she looks frustrated as she held her head in her hands. Not long after, she gave her then fiance the silent treatment before getting to her feet to leave the restaurant. For some background, the pair have been engaged, unengaged, and living separately for the majority of their relationship, even though they've been together for 7 years. And so this argument really fueled rumors of more relationship problems. The argument was reportedly about the couple planning their nuptials when they started fighting about the finer details, and insiders told reporters that the couple couldn't agree where they would live, as Johnny supposedly wanted to move back to the UK and Courtney wanted to remain in LA.
Number 2. Gigi Hadid and Zayn Malik. In 2015, Gigi Hadid had just split up with boy band singer Joe Jonas and was on the search for a new man that she found in the form of Zayn Malik, a boy band singer. The One Direction singer took an interest in Hadid after standing in on a photo shoot that she was involved with. They spent a lot of time together and became very close. So close, in fact, that in 2016, Zayn would confirm that Gigi was in fact his current girlfriend. They made their first public appearance together at that year's Met Gala, cosplaying as a cyborg knight and the evil witch who rules the land. And not long after, the couple split, only to get back together 5 days later. 5 days. Seemingly back without problems, the couple continued to post lavish lifestyle pics and all seemed well until March in 2018 when the couple announced that they would once again be taking a break. But then the next month they got back together, and then a month after that they broke up again. Do you see the pattern here, guys? Take the hint, okay? The universe is clearly telling you something.
Number 1. Shia LaBeouf and Carolyn Foe. Yes, he's back on the list because the actor has a seriously extensive track record of public spats. Shia LaBeouf is fairly well known for his outlandish behavior, where he frequently just takes it way too far by getting kicked out of a performance of Cabaret or being arrested for public drunkenness in 2017. But this fight dates back to 2012 when he and his then girlfriend Carolyn were caught fighting on camera and having a tearful exchange on the side of the road in LA. It was then that rumors started circulating about the extent of Shia's involvement in the sex scenes in Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac, which were reportedly real. So naturally his girlfriend would be upset. She did not seem too thrilled that her actor boyfriend Shia had shared an intimate scene with his co-star in the movie. But Carolyn was pretty quick to deny the fight, telling the New York Daily News, quote, "It's none of anybody's business. Everything is fine with us. It was nothing affiliated with this movie." Although that might be true, clearly something had caused the couple to have a public screaming match on the side of the road in broad daylight. And just like that, in November the same year, the couple had officially decided to split for good.
Starting off our list at number 10 today, we have Beyonce and Jay-Z. Back in January of 2015, Beyonce and Jay-Z had anything but a quiet sushi night as the megastar couple was captured getting into it at Sushi Park restaurant in Los Angeles. In released photos, Beyonce could be seen yelling at her husband. And later, OK Magazine would then speculate that the altercation happened because Jay-Z's non-stop cell phone use during dinner. However, like many mysteries and the fact that the couple usually tends to keep their private life, pretty private, no one can say for sure what the two may have been arguing about. However, this wouldn't be the couple's first public fight since back in 2014, the couple had an infamous elevator incident that first brought potential difficulties in their relationship to light, and both have explored marital conflict in their albums 444 and Lemonade respectively. But it seems like all is well now as they continue to gush about each other in interviews, and back in 2017, Jay-Z also said he was really proud of the art Beyonce was releasing, and he also noted that she was amazing. Coming in number 9, Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. Just before Emma Roberts and Evan Peters split for good, the American Horror Story co-stars in 2013 were caught on camera while they had a pretty serious physical fight. While it may have seemed at the time that the two were actually a perfect couple in Hollywood. It was anything but perfect. When the two stars started to make headlines after they had a pretty public fight in Montreal, the New York Daily News would then report that the Montreal police had to attend to the scene after people called in a domestic situation. When the police showed up to the couple's hotel room, they would find Evan with a handful of injuries, which included a bloody nose and a bite mark. The police then opted to arrest Emma on the scene, even after Evan chose not to file charges against her. Although Emma was released, the paparazzi would then capture her breaking down when she learned the news had reached the media. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in number 8, Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. When Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth posed at the LA premiere of the Avengers Endgame in 2019, their red carpet smiles didn't last too long, as the two widely displayed their different styles and tensions between them were pretty palpable. When Miley couldn't stop talking about how she wanted to let her hair down and have a crazy fun night out, Liam was there to support his brother Chris and was hoping to have a fairly chilled evening. And it appears neither of them would end up leaving the red carpet happy at the end of the night, as Miley, did Miley, as she was seen vamping it up for photographers, and her Aussie actor hubby at the time grew increasingly uncomfortable, resulting in the famous duo getting into their first major fight as a married couple. And you could even see Liam at one point on the red carpet telling Miley to behave. After the two then walked off the red carpet, Liam would then angrily accuse Miley of turning the premiere into the Miley show, and once the couple got home, a source would then reveal that they got into a big fat argument. And then jump to the day, Miley wrote a song called Flowers that highlights their relationship and how it was never perfect. And it's been #1 on the billboards for the last 3 weeks, and she even took a jab at Liam in the music video by wearing the suit he wore that night on the red carpet. At number 7, we have Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck. Before Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck decided to go their separate ways, the world was pretty shocked to learn that their marriage was anything but perfect. While there were plenty of rumors in 2015 that suggested Ben had been unfaithful in their marriage with the family's former nanny, after the couple returned home from vacation, a fight would break out shortly after, and this is when they dropped their 3 children off at school. Onlookers would then tell In Touch that Jennifer and Ben were in their SUV when things started to get a little out of hand. They even started to claim that there was lots of gesturing through it all, and the photos and videos captured, you could see Jennifer crying. This is when people started to believe that Ben was making it clear that their marriage was over and that he was going forward with the divorce. Number 6, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. At one point in time, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were Hollywood's it couple, and you couldn't turn around without seeing them mentioned somewhere in the street. But it seems like after the couple filed for divorce and went their separate ways, they have been hitting headlines for some pretty serious accusations. Before the couple ultimately decided to part ways, they would be spotted at Legoland in Windsor, and they would be spotted coming off this ride with their children, and the couple could be seen getting into a pretty serious argument where Brad would be shown touching Angelina's arm before she pulled away and decided to shout in the actor's face while they were in public. The people who captured the photos then said they saw the couple again later, and they looked like they were still arguing sometime later. Number 5, Channing Tatum and Jenna Darwin. While it seems to be a trend of couples meeting on the set of movies and getting together and becoming couples, Channing Tatum and Jenna Darwin were no exception, as the pair started dating shortly after they worked together on the iconic dance movie Step Up. Although it looked like things were going extremely well for the pair, they would show the world that there were signs that things were off for months before they announced their divorce. Jenna would even open up about the couple's last months together in their relationship in her book. This is when she would claim that the two were only hurting each other by staying together. Also leading up to the couple's divorce, the couple were often seen sharing words out in public before heading out and getting snapped by the media in several photos. And after the public arguments, it would seem like Jenna would rather look at her cell phone than talk to Channing. Number 4, Blueface and Krishan Rock. Lately it seems like Blueface and his girlfriend Krishan keep making headlines for all the wrong reasons. If you've been online for the past few months, then you probably have seen the viral videos and tweets of the rappers going viral with the rise of the couple's reality show Crazy in Love. However, while some users view the relationship as entertaining, I think we can collectively agree agreed that their relationship is pretty toxic, as we have seen the two enter into some pretty concerning altercations. The problem with the two is not only that the relationship is dangerous, but it's also harmful for the immediate parties around them. While it seems like Chrisean is the main reason behind the couple's toxic relationship, she would go into an interview to come out to address the public's concern about her relationship by saying, "We're just here learning, figuring things out. We met each other how we met each other, but that's it." However, now that Chrisean has announced her pregnancy with Blueface, things are only going to get more messy going forward, and that's what is the most concerning part for their fans watching. Number 3. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. Like any couple, it's no secret that Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman have endured their fair share of issues throughout their relationship. After all, Keith has used some of their disagreements as inspiration for his songs. While the couple often tends to keep their disagreements away from the media, back in 2016 when Nicole was captured giving her husband a look that no husband wants to see, the internet would go into a frenzy while they tried to figure out what happened. The confrontation would happen when they were at a movie premiere. Insiders would then tell the Daily Mail that things took a turn when Keith got upset over the couple's very busy schedules as they had spent the year apart. Apparently, Keith wanted to return to Australia to be with their family, but Nicole, on the other hand, was just really sick of Keith sulking about them being apart, and she just wanted him to be with her and support her career. Number 2. Rihanna and Chris Brown. Back in the day, Rihanna and Chris Brown had a relationship that made us all raise our eyebrows. Eventually, during their relationship, after headlines started to show that Chris got into a physical altercation with Rihanna, he would eventually be arrested and charged, and eventually the stars would also call off their relationship. Just before, the couple was at a pre-Grammy party when they started arguing in a car. Later, Rihanna would then open up about the altercation in an interview with Diane Sawyer. There, she would claim that their altercation started after Rihanna saw a text from a girl on Chris's phone. Rihanna then said that she knew he was lying and that he knew he had nowhere to turn. However, Rihanna would then go on to note that there had been warning signs that something bad was going to happen long before the incident. Apparently, the more the couple fell in love, the more they both started to realize how dangerous they were for another. Today, Rihanna has used her experience to help other young women going through similar situations. Number 1. Mia Goth and Shia LaBeouf. Just before Mia Goth and Shia LaBeouf decided to split, they had quite a habit of getting caught on camera having these really public fights. Just before the two started dating, Shia actually met and fell in love with Mia Goth on a set of their movie, and eventually they decided to walk down the aisle. While the couple has now gone on their separate ways, they were involved in some pretty high profile and public fights while they were in Germany. In a viral video in 2015, the two could be seen screaming at each other. The footage in that video would then show Shia walking away from the scene and getting into a car as he explains that he didn't want to hurt Mia. Then a source would confirm that apparently when Mia tried to talk to Shia again, he would then respond to Mia by saying he was being pushed and he didn't want to be aggressive.
Number 10. Kirsten Dunst and Garrett Hedlund. This is a great way to start off the list because even though this public fight was embarrassing, it seemed like the couple were able to shrug it off relatively quickly. We're going to talk about the epic couple fight that happened way back in 2012 between actress Kirsten Dunst and her on-the-road co-star Garrett Hedlund, who just recently started dating at the time. Although the actors had plenty in common and things started going well initially, cameras caught the couple having a major argument on their way to a movie theater, which was so intense it looked like it was about more than which movie they were seeing. It looked like something had sparked a pretty big fight as the pair continued to hurl insults at each other on the way. Whatever happened in the car that day, it was probably just a petty argument because they ended up dating for another 4 years. And in 2015, Kirsten said, quote, "We're the same age, we have similar backgrounds, he feels like family to me." But sadly, like most other good things, the relationship came to an end in April of 2016.
Number 6. MGK and Megan Fox. Megan and Machine first met in March 2020 on the set of the indie thriller Midnight in Switchgrass. The production was shut down after 2 weeks because of, the world at the time, but long after the camera was cut, the two were still keeping in touch, spending a majority of their downtime together and developing a solid relationship, sort of. You see, Megan was technically married at the time to her husband of 10 years, Brian Austin Green, but was quarantining separately from him. Green posted on Instagram 3 days after Megan's birthday that the pair had in fact been on a break since December of 2019. Their relationship had been rocky from the get-go, being married and divorced twice in 10 years, but that rocky road seemed to lead to MGK as well, as the pair got engaged just under 2 years after meeting. But things took a dramatic turn for the worst in February 2023 when over Super Bowl weekend, Fox suddenly unfollowed MGK's social medias and removed almost all of the photos of them together. She also posted on Instagram, quoting a Beyonce lyric, "You can taste the dishonesty, it's all over your breath," from the artist's 2016 Lemonade song, Pray You Catch Me. Many fans began speculating that there may have been some kind of cheating situation, or that the pair were simply about to split up and never look back, but Fox eventually deleted her post and revealed to insiders that the pair had a fight over the weekend that left them questioning the relationship. The pair are still very much on and off in terms of their relationship, and while they keep in touch and are still trying to work things out, Megan has stopped wearing her engagement ring. So that can't be a great sign.
Number 8. Adrienne Maloof and Sean Stewart. Apart from their almost 20-year age difference, it seemed like there were a myriad of other issues that plagued the brief relationship between Rod Stewart's son, Sean Stewart, and former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member Adrienne Maloof. The couple split up after having a blowout fight on the red carpet. According to eyewitnesses, the duo arrived separately, and Adrienne walked the red carpet with an even younger man, 24-year-old Jacob Bush. TMZ spotted the pair fighting next to the red carpet at the charity event, which definitely marked the end of their on-again, off-again relationship. The argument between them got heated, and Sean could be seen storming off, telling his ex, "I'm done," when her date tried to approach him. Stewart later claimed to Brandi Glanville on her podcast, quote, "I do want to clear up one rumor. She never broke my heart." But when it came time to explain the bizarre public fight, the reality TV star only told Star Magazine, quote, "I have a lot of changes going on in my life. I went through a period of darkness and I am much happier now than ever. Things are good."
Number 7. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. The Smith family has been at the top of the news storm recently after it was announced that Jada Pinkett Smith's Facebook talk show Red Table was being cancelled. One topic that was brought up on the series before its cancellation was the revelation of an entanglement, whatever that means, between Pinkett and singer-songwriter August Alsina during a brief break the couple took in the early 2000s. Pinkett was quick to bounce back though after breaking up with Will, entangling with August, and then eventually getting back with Will to continue their marriage. Now it's not all sunshine and rainbows though, as the couple still has marital issues to this day. They've been thrown even further under the bus by their own kids, Willow and Jaden, who have called the pair out on their lack of proper parenting skills and for essentially leaving them to their own devices growing up. Together, Jada and Will carry around a dark storm cloud of negativity and spread it to everyone they interact with. So better bring an umbrella, guys.
Number 6. Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck. The stars were photographed having a very emotional moment inside a car prior to their divorce. Back in 2016, the pair were arguing in their SUV after dropping their 3 children at school when things started to get really heated. Just looking at the picture that has been circulated online, you can tell that Jennifer was getting very frustrated with whatever Ben was saying, and she proceeded to make hand gestures throughout the argument, probably because she felt like she wasn't being heard. At one point, she can actually be seen breaking down in tears inside the vehicle. But this instance wasn't a one-off, and recently it seems like Ben has a lot of explaining to do. The 49-year-old was caught earlier this year puffing on his cigarette fiercely while appearing to be in another fight with Jennifer on the streets of Los Angeles. The exes appeared to be locked in a heated conversation outside her car just hours after it was revealed that Ben and his now fiancée Jennifer Lopez bought a $50 million home together. The pair rekindled their relationship in April last year, almost immediately after she ended her engagement with Alex Rodriguez. So the timing is definitely interesting.
Number 5. Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. J-Biebs and Selena were Hollywood's young golden couple when they first got together in 2009 after being introduced by their managers, following an interview with Justin where he admitted that Gomez was his celebrity crush. It appeared that the feeling was mutual though, as later on that year on New Year's Eve, Justin appeared in Las Vegas serenading Gomez with his song One Less Lonely Girl, and cuddling up as he did it. Initially though, it seemed like Justin was simply viewed as her best friend, seeing as she once said that she felt like Justin's big sister. Well, in 2010, they were spotted together on a date, and the rest is media storm history. Their relationship became the talk of the town. He even rented out the Staples Center just so the two of them could be alone together on a date. Despite the romantic gestures, Bieber had reportedly started cheating on Selena, and they split. But Gomez is a forgiving type, and the pair have continuously been on and off again for nearly a decade. At one point, they even got back together and moved into the same apartment, only to break up again. Like, immediately. Do you guys know how hard it is to rent a U-Haul these days?
Number 4, Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Their infamous on and off again relationship was definitely not free from arguments, and some of them were caught on camera. Right before Selena and Justin got on a plane to Paris, they got into a huge fight while at Princess Juliana International Airport in St. Martin, and unfortunately it looked like a massive one. In the video, we see Justin and Selena sitting in their car outside the airport in St. Martin before their Paris flight. Selena storms out of the car, walks into the airport by herself and throws her bag on the floor. Justin didn't immediately follow her, instead he chose to sit in the car for a little bit, which probably made her even more mad. When he did enter a few minutes later, she was chatting with a fan that had a baby, and Justin came over and they silently walked to their flight. You could tell both of them were equally frustrated, but in 2014, this was only one of the many public fights that the couple would go on to have. In fact, after their romantic trip, they went to Paris Fashion Week, which led to more arguing because Justin reportedly went to dinner with Kendall Jenner and partied with her at the same party that Selena was at. She flew out the next morning alone, leaving Justin in Paris, and then deleted him off Instagram.
Number 3. Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick. Keeping Up with the Kardashians is a historical series in the world of reality television. For over a decade, fans have been able to watch the family grow, both literally and figuratively, with the addition of friends, family, and in this case, lovers. Scott and Kourtney's story began where all fairy tale relationships begin, at a famous friend's house in Mexico. In 2006, the pair attended a mutual friend's party at his home in Mexico. A photo from that night shows the two sitting together but nowhere near each other. Disick recounts liking Kourtney almost immediately, but that she wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. But something must have changed in between A and B, as the two appeared as a couple on the series premiere of the reality show in 2007. At first, the family was standoffish, claiming that Scott was immature and that his loyalty meant absolutely nothing. Kris Jenner, Kourtney's mom, even said in one episode that she knew Scott was cheating on her daughter, she just wasn't sure how to go about the situation. Now, Disick denies those claims and reaffirmed his love for Kourtney until he couldn't deny any longer because his sisters, Kim and Khloe, found a series of text messages on an old phone to someone named My Wife. The text revealed he had cheated on her while the family was staying in the Hamptons, and Kim was furious for like a second. A year later, she would announce that the pair were expecting their first child together, seemingly making the whole cheating ordeal water under the bridge. But it didn't stop. Over the years, the couple has split and healed over and over and over, time and time and again, and at one point, Disick even entered rehab with the support of Kourtney, and he still cheated on her. In 2015, another round of allegations came out, and they split, only to get back together again, and then split, and then get back together again. And now they have 3 kids, and have been doing a good job as co-parents. But with Kourtney now married to a musician, Travis Barker, we've got to wonder, is she gonna pull a Scott on this man?
Number 2, Christopher Hivju and Guy Mulvere. If you forget about Season 8, Game of Thrones was really an epic TV series that took over the world as soon as Season 1 hit, and made several of its stars household names. Norwegian actor Christopher was one of the stars who appeared in the series over the years, but it was his public fight with his wife, Guy, who is a photographer, that really got people talking. They say that redheads are known for their temper, so it seems like these two are really perfect for each other. The couple were spotted having a heated argument as they were shopping in Los Angeles, as Guy had reportedly been looking for a new dress. No one really knows what the fight was about, but onlookers claimed that their argument lasted for over an hour and escalated very quickly. During the fight, you can see the actor raises his hands in the air in frustration, while his wife, who looks incredibly distraught, has her eyes to the ground the whole time. The fight continued before they both stormed off. Just goes to show you how celebrities are normal people too.
Number 1, Charlie Sheen and Brooke Mueller. For those who don't know, Charlie Sheen is an actor. You may recognize his face from the show 2.5 Men, as well as his performance in the much-loved Scary Movie franchise. After he met Brooke Mueller, his life would forever be changed. The two got married in May 2008, and Mueller gave birth to a set of twin sons the following year. The couple seemed happy, and family life was on the horizon, until the couple got into a heated dispute in Aspen in 2009 and Charlie got handcuffed. He was charged with felony menacing, as well as third-degree assault charges and criminal mischief. Now, most of the charges were dismissed, and Sheen pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault, so he received a sentence that included rehab, probation, and anger management. The couple filed for divorce, but that certainly wasn't the end of their public fiascos, as they were constantly seen canoodling together and being romantic, despite the fact that Mueller was herself in and out of rehab as well. Way to define long distance, guys, and toxic.
Number 10. Nigella Lawson and Charles Saatchi. The couple's fight was witnessed by a photographer who stumbled upon celebrity chef Nigella Lawson being choked by none other than her husband, Britain's most high-profile figure, Charles Saatchi. The incident all went down during her birthday lunch, and a now infamous photo was captured of the chilling sight. The photographer, who only went by the name Jean-Paul, told Vanity Fair in 2013 that when Charles grabbed his wife's throat, quote, "It was so violent, with such force that her head snapped backward." The story hit the tabloids at full speed and actually served to open up a much-needed conversation about domestic violence. Their relationship was obviously far from perfect, but the intense controversy that the incident sparked was enough to tear them apart forever. That same year, Charles filed for divorce from Nigella after 10 years of marriage. Funnily enough, he later told the Daily Mail that putting his hands on her throat was merely a gesture, and insisted that there was no pressure applied to her. Yeah, right. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Their 72-day marriage had certainly shown signs that it was going to end quickly. A few days before Kim divorced Kris on day 68, the couple was spotted arguing in their car while out on a dinner date in Hollywood. The newlywed couple were photographed heading back to Kim's car after dinner, and you could visibly see the tension in the air. Kris looked fed up, and Kim was giving her new husband the death stare while yelling and waving her hands at him as the argument began to escalate. This very public fight was indicative that their relationship was on the rocks, because that same year Kim went on to file for divorce and got the marriage annulled. The Los Angeles Times even reported that Kim had only married him to increase ratings on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The best part was that Kris asked for a $7 million divorce settlement from his ex-wife. Otherwise, he threatened to make her endure an ugly public trial. But the NBA star ended up walking away with literally nothing. Number 8. Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. The American Horror Story actors first met on the set of Adult World in 2012, and in the short 4 years since then, the two have shared more drama than some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Toxic doesn't even begin to describe their relationship. We're talking about at least 3 breakups and deleting all social media traces of each other. Early on in their relationship, TMZ reported that the two got into a heated argument while staying at a hotel in Montreal that ended up with both stars getting physical. When police arrived, Peters was found with a bloody nose and bite marks on his body, prompting police to take Emma into custody, arresting her for domestic violence. But her then boyfriend decided not to press charges, and they were back together a few hours later. What's really bizarre is that a couple of days after the fight, photos were shared online of Emma clinging to Evan while sobbing into his arms after news broke of the fight. Paparazzi were even able to capture the two hugging one another, with Emma looking extremely upset the whole time. The incident was a bit of a grey area, but many have labeled it as straight up domestic violence. Number 7. Stephen Amell and Cassandra Jean Amell. The couple have been married since 2012 and all seemed well in public until it didn't. The star of CW's Arrow and his wife got into an altercation on a Delta flight from Austin to Los Angeles that ended up with the actor having to be forcibly removed from the flight. Stephen was reportedly screaming at Cassandra while they were seated on the plane and appeared to be intoxicated when a flight attendant asked him to calm down multiple times. When the fight escalated to the point of no return, the actor had to be restrained and removed by an air marshal and 3 flight attendants that worked together to get him off the plane. His wife did not go with him and instead chose to remain on the flight. Big surprise there. With the incident made public, Steven took to Twitter to try and explain the whole thing and claimed that his emotions got the better of him. Quote, "My wife and I got into an argument. I was asked to lower my voice and I did. Approximately 10 minutes later, I was asked to leave the flight and I did so immediately. I was not forcibly removed." The whole thing was really absurd because if they needed 4 people to get him off the flight, something about his side of the story just doesn't add up. Number 6, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Before the former couple split, their relationship was clearly becoming strained, as The Sun reported that the same year that Jolie filed for divorce, they were spotted in Legoland having a major public spat. Onlookers told the magazine that both stars didn't look happy and looked stern-faced, and photos from the incident show Brad actually grabbing Angelina's arm while she pulls away and appears to be screaming at him. The couple filed for divorce in 2016, citing irreconcilable differences. Now the actors are both learning to co-parent their 6 children after years of custody battles and child support drama. According to Daily Mail, Brad has even been seen visiting Angelina's house to spend time with his kids, so it sounds like they are back on good terms. Number 5. Rihanna and Hassan Jamil. The former couple seemed like they were perfect for each other after rumors swirled that the two were engaged in 2017. Although they managed to keep their relationship very private and didn't post many photos together on social media, photos emerged of the two on a trip to Mexico in 2018 that left many fans wondering if they were done for good. The paparazzi captured photos that painted a picture of Rihanna screaming at her former billionaire boyfriend and angrily pointing her finger at him while they were on the poolside. What's interesting about the photos is that in comparison to Rihanna, Jamil looked very calm and almost passive in the argument, which made the whole thing go viral. Because of all the noise online, the singer took to Instagram and posted a meme of a female lion roaring at a male lion with the caption, quote, "When you think you know more about soccer, hashtag World Cup 2018. But even though she had a good sense of humor about the fight, the couple still ended up splitting up in 2020 because allegedly their lives were just too different and it was too hard to maintain a relationship. Number 4, Nicholas Hoult and Jennifer Lawrence. The couple fell in love with each other when they first met on the set of the X-Men movie series and became co-stars. Jennifer played Mystique and Nicholas portrayed Beast. It all seemed to be going well for the pair until they suddenly split in 2014 after dating for nearly 5 years. They did have a really public fight, however, when they were once spotted arguing during a dinner. According to reports, the former couple was at a restaurant together when they started really getting into it. Witnesses claim that the actress was upset about something and even threw her hands into the air at one point. Nicholas apparently also got very frustrated as he started shouting at her. Jennifer had apparently had enough with him and broke down as he stormed out of the restaurant. Seems like it was a bit of a mess, but it's great that the former couple have since been able to move on with their respective partners. Number 3, Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman. This was not just one explosive fight, but actually several. The lid was really blown off the couple's relationship problems when paparazzi captured photos of them in March last year having a tense argument while walking with their son Eric. According to The Sun, passerbys noticed that the X Factor judge had a face like thunder, and their arguing was so loud almost everyone could hear them. In fact, it was reportedly so bad that Lauren got fed up and had to walk away from Simon, while the former American Idol judge decided to cross the road to the other side to put some distance between them, and he walked the rest of the way on the other side of the street. But that wasn't the first time that the pair had a fight in public. In fact, back in 2013, the couple were seen shouting at each other inside a car in New York City. They were even photographed in the middle of an altercation while sitting in the back of an SBU in broad daylight with their windows down. Simon had his hands in the air and Lauren looked like she was crying. I guess it goes to show you that celebrities really are just normal people. Number 2, Beyonce and Jay-Z. Yes, I'm about to talk about the infamous sushi fight. So in 2016, the paparazzi caught the power couple dining at a sushi park restaurant in LA. And from the photos which surfaced online, we can tell that they really got into it. It showed them having anything but a pleasant sushi date. Beyonce was yelling and waving her finger at Jay-Z while he looked like he was glued to his phone the whole time. They say that it's rude to use your phone at dinner, but even worse, he just seems like he wasn't listening to her at all. The truth is, we'll never know what started the public argument, but it wasn't the first intense fight that they've ever been in. This all took place 2 years after the bizarre elevator fight at the 2014 Met Gala between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister Solange, when she started attacking him by punching and kicking him in an elevator, all while the bodyguards eventually had to restrain her. It was really quite funny because Beyonce was just standing there and watching it all unfold. The three artists did make a joint statement about the incident, which read, quote, "They both have apologized to each other and we have moved forward as a united family." And coming in at number 1, Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. The controversial actor Shia LaBeouf has had some seriously messed up allegations brought against him in recent years, but this fight was just so bizarre that it deserves a place on the list. The actor and his former longtime girlfriend Mia Goth, who has recently starred in the horror movie X, got into a heated altercation in Germany in 2015 that was all captured on video. The argument occurred on the streets and got so bad that a few locals had to intervene. Shia was heard shouting, quote, "I don't want to touch a woman, I don't want to hit a woman, but I'm being pushed." He then got into a random person's car and had them drive him to the airport. He later told that same person that if he had stayed there, then he would have taken her life. But they seem to have made up after the fight and even got married in 2016 in Las Vegas, only to split up 2 years later. The relationship was probably a complicated one because in 2020, People magazine reported that the pair was spotted together wearing wedding rings. Hopefully they parted for good because they seem to be extremely toxic together.
And at number 10, Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson. This relationship was hard to watch because we all knew that they were moving too fast and it was most likely a mistake, but the fans still supported it anyways. The pair met while Ariana was guest hosting on SNL, and instantly they were all over each other. The pair even got engaged a few short months later, leading many to scratch their heads. But only a few months after that, the pair revealed that they were going to be ending their engagement. Ariana told Vogue in the August 2019 issue that their whole relationship was highly unrealistic. She added, quote, "I met Pete and it was an amazing distraction. It was frivolous and fun and insane and highly unrealistic. And I loved him and I didn't know him." In at number 9, Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom. This one makes me so sad because Khloe and Lamar were my favorite couple until it was exposed that most of their relationship was a lie. These two got married only 3 weeks after meeting one another because they knew they were madly in love. They stayed together for a few years and they even had their own reality show called Khloe and Lamar. But years later, the couple suddenly divorced. It was exposed that Lamar had been cheating on Khloe almost constantly throughout their marriage with countless women. The couple divorced shortly after he was found unconscious in a brothel, and even though they were separating, the Kardashians were still there for him and helped him get back on his feet. Khloe spoke about the split, saying, quote, "I never wanted the divorce to begin with, but you know, I never want him to spiral out of control. But some people need to walk down a certain path in order to heal, so I'm just happy that he's healing." And at number 8, Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne. These two have been together for many years, with their relationship starting as a business relationship with Sharon managing Ozzy. But that doesn't mean the relationship has not been rocky. During their relationship, Sharon got the feeling Ozzy had been cheating on her, which he ended up confessing to. In 2018, Sharon revealed that she managed to get the truth out by Ozzy with sleeping pills. She said, quote, "I was a broken woman. He sent me an email that was meant for one of his women, then he took his sleeping pills. I put an extra 2 in his drink and asked him everything and everything came out." The couple briefly split in 2016 because of this cheating, however the two did eventually get back together and have been together ever since. And at number 7, Jesse James and Sandra Bullock. This marriage went down in flames due to infidelity caused by Jesse's insecurity over their relationship. The couple first started dating in 2003 and got married in 2005, but after only 5 years of marriage they split in 2010 after it was exposed that Jesse had been cheating with multiple women. After the split, Jesse said the hardest thing was not being able to be with their adopted child Louis. But in 2017 he raised some eyebrows when he said, quote, "In general, both women and men cheat. It's part of life," basically making light of the cheating. However, after those comments got a lot of heat, Jesse changed his tune and made a statement saying, quote, "This has caused my wife and kids pain and embarrassment beyond comprehension, and I'm extremely saddened to have brought this on them. I'm truly sorry for the grief that I have caused them. I hope one day they can find it in their hearts to forgive me." And at number 6, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. After only 4 years of marriage and a reality show that brought us into the lives of the couple, these two had a messy split. and Jessica ended up filing for divorce in 2005. And from what we saw on TV, everyone was pretty sure they were going to split while watching season 3 of their show. They even admitted on TV that they didn't know as much as they thought they did about each other before getting married. A producer on the show even explained the tension between them. Nick was blue collar and frugal, while Jessica was a big spender. During a 2015 interview on CNBC's Closing Bell, she revealed that her biggest financial mistake was marrying Nick because she had to pay him $12 million. Jessica said they were fine when they were filming, but when the camera crews left, it was very tense and awkward. Halfway at number 5, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You guys already know we had to include this one because this might be the most cursed relationship ever that is sadly still playing out in the courts. When they split in 2016 after a brief marriage, Amber accused Johnny of getting physical with her on multiple occasions. But then in 2019, after denying the claims, Johnny alleged that Amber was the one that actually was physical with him. Then shortly after, explosive audio recordings leaked that showed Amber admitted to being physical with Johnny in the past. As of now, Johnny has been losing their legal battles. He even lost a libel suit against the Sun, but he is not giving up and he's committed to having the truth revealed in court. In at number 4, Janelle Evans and David Eason. After Janelle Evans had been unlucky in love with her 2 previous partners, many felt that David Eason was finally the man who would make it all right. The pair even got married and had a child together, but shortly after things began to unravel and it was revealed that there were a lot of problems going on in the marriage. It was discovered that Janelle had called 911 on David before, as well as revealed that he took the life of their family dog after it was aggressive with their child. After this all took place, the pair temporarily lost custody of their kids, and Janelle claimed she was going to be getting a divorce. But after things got sorted out, Janelle decided to stay with David and claimed that they would do their best to work it out. In at number 3, Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna. This has to be one of the messiest celebrity relationships ever, literally every aspect of it. Things were strange from the very beginning because there was a familial connection. Chyna and Tyga had been married and even had a child together, but Tyga left Chyna for Kylie Jenner, Rob's half-sister. Immediately, the Kardashians thought Chyna pursued Rob for the wrong reasons, but over time they got used to the relationship. When the couple got pregnant, the Kardashians were in full support, until the relationship started to become incredibly toxic and things turned ugly. Both Rob and Chyna posted private conversations and photos of one another to the internet. The pair are now in a legal battle. Chyna even sued the Kardashian family for allegedly kicking her off the show. In at number 2, Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain. The relationship between this couple was incredibly volatile, not only because of their personalities clashing, but because substance use was involved. It seems that they both were a bad influence on each other, and their relationship made their substance abuse even worse. In 1992, Courtney told a story about one of their first weekends together. She said that they did a lot of and they even got high, then went to SNL while still intoxicated. When Courtney got pregnant with their daughter, they both vowed to get clean so she could grow up in a healthy environment. However, just 2 years after Kurt and Courtney got married, it was discovered that Kurt had taken his own life, although many fans speculate that Courtney was actually the person responsible for his death. And finally, at number 1, Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick. Scott and Kourtney were together when the Kardashians started their reality show, but right off the bat it was clear that he was the black sheep of the family, and they all had their suspicions about Scott. Over the course of the show, we saw these two break up, make up, and get pregnant 3 times together. It was clear that infidelity was a part of the problem. Scott wanted to be out partying till the early morning, while Kourtney just wanted to stay home with the kids. Kourtney eventually called things off for good after Scott went on another party binge weeks after the birth of their 3rd child, and photos of him getting cozy with other women surfaced. Over the years, the pair have developed a close friendship and even sparked rumors that they were getting back together. But clearly things are still rocky, which we know by the messages that Scott sent to Eunice Benjima, shading Kourtney and Travis Barker, which are super weird.
Number 10. He feels no pain. Leonardo DiCaprio is an incredible actor and has been known to keep his cool on set even when things go horribly wrong. In the film Django Unchained by pediatric enthusiast Quentin Tarantino, DiCaprio played a plantation owner named Calvin Candy. In one particular scene, Leo is so deep in character that he slams his hand down hard on a dining table in anger. Moments later, his hand is gushing blood as he had just come down right on top of a wine glass that was not supposed to break. Despite his hand being sliced open though, he not only stayed in character, but it was reported that he barely seemed to be in any pain during the ordeal. He just got stitches and he kept filming. As someone who's almost lost their finger before, your hand being ripped open does not feel good at all. It's extremely painful. The only logical explanation to this is Leo has used his millions to get some kind of a nerve blocker, allowing him to no longer feel pain. This would explain his ability to stay calm and in character in even the toughest of situations. situations. It's either that or I'm just a wuss and don't handle pain well, I don't know, tomato potato. Number 9, he's poisoning the ozone layer. Leonardo DiCaprio has been open about his views on climate change for a long time, even taking time during his Oscar and Golden Globe speeches to drop some climate change knowledge on Hollywood and the world. It turns out that he may not understand the logistics of how jet fuel works. You see, Leo is a frequent flyer when he's traveling, but he's usually in his own private jet. Despite being a climate change activist, he flies across the planet in what looks like an expensive plane with a hefty fuel tank. On top of that, Leo drives a normal car and his massive house is powered on the same electricity as the rest of us. If he was really trying to save the planet, he'd make more radical changes. He's rich. Why hasn't he installed solar panels on his roof and gone off the grid? Well, because secretly he doesn't care. He's happy to drive and fly when he pleases. Come on, Leo, just aim a tank of fossil fuels at the sky and let her loose. Might as well. Number 8. He paid the Academy for his Oscar. In 2016, Leonardo DiCaprio finally won an Oscar for Best Actor in a leading role for his performance in the film The Revenant. He played a character named Hugh Glass, a frontierman on a fur trading expedition in the 1820s who fights for survival after being mauled by a bear and left for dead by his own hunting team. His performance was pretty good, but honestly there wasn't a ton of dialogue from DiCaprio, as he spends most of the movie alone in the woods. He grunts and screams in pain a lot though, and apparently that was good enough for Best Actor. When you compare Leo's performance to that of his fellow nominees from that year though, there's a very clear difference in quality. The other contenders that year were Eddie Redmayne in The Danish Girl, Matt Damon in The Martian, Bryan Cranston for Trumbo, and Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs. These performances were arguably 10 times more compelling than Leo's, especially when you consider his past. Leo has been nominated for an Oscar 7 times throughout his career, with his first one coming in 1994 for his role alongside Johnny Depp in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. If you've never seen that movie, watch it and you'll realize that he got snubbed. He was nominated for his performance in Wolf of Wall Street, The Aviator, Blood Diamonds, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Any of those should have guaranteed him the win, but he lost time and time again. In 2016, it felt like the Academy was either forced or paid to give him the award, because not only was his reaction minimal following his name being announced, but he had a whole climate change speech like ready to go. I don't know, it's a little sus, just a little. Number 9, his preference in age. It's no secret that Leo's dating life has been filled with mainly younger women. In 2022, someone took the time to deep dive into Leo's past and created a literal chart of former lovers, as well as their ages compared to his own. According to the chart, between the ages of 24 and 44, Leo has been in 8 serious relationships, and all 8 women were significantly younger than him when they met. At 24, he met Giselle Bundchen, who was 6 years younger than him. His next girlfriend, Bar Rafley, named after the place her parents met, was 20 when she started dating Leo, who was 30. Between all 8 women, the oldest ones made it to 25 before Leo called it quits. Now there is no way that this is a coincidence. 3 women were dumped after they turned 25. It's like Leo had some kind of a sick need for the person he's with to be generations behind him. He's never come right out and talked about his preferences, but like, why would he? How would that conversation even go? Yeah, I keep a minimum of 20 years younger than me and the number grows by 1 every year. Yeah. Gross. Number 6, his mental health. Leo is one of those people who classifies themselves as a method actor. For instance, in a famous scene in Wolf of Wall Street, Leo's character took too many happy pills and has to drag himself across the floor in a haze of substance and spit. To prepare for this role, he interviewed several people with similar experiences, and he would rehearse his physicality over and over again before the scenes. Now, while that's not a great example, this one is. Anytime Leo has to play a character with some kind of an emotional detachment or mental health issue, he's been known to completely isolate himself from the world. For his role in Shutter Island, he played a detective sent to an asylum on a remote island to investigate the mysterious disappearance of one of the inmates. The film is wonderfully dark and full of mystery, right up to the final reveal, which I won't spoil just in case you want to watch Shutter Island. To prepare for this performance, Leo isolated himself in an apartment for 3 months and had it set up like a police precinct. He even hired a ghostwriter to give him fake crimes to solve so he could really step into the mentality of the role. While this may work for many people, the facts are that Leo has become more reserved over the years and he speaks with a very low volume and tone now. Did all that isolation make him go crazy for real? Probably.
Next at number 5, we have Phil Collins. When I found out that actress Lily Collins is the daughter of singer Phil Collins, I had to sit down for a second. Because Collins is a very common name. I never thought they were related. There was barely any association with the two to begin with, so you can't blame me for being shocked. Now that isn't to say there wasn't any type of nepo baby privileges that came unnoticed, but clearly Lily managed to have a career in her own name. We'll talk about her nepo privileges another time. As it turns out, she isn't his only successful kid either. In total, he has 5 children, including Lily, and most of them are successful in their own career paths. His eldest daughter, Jolie, started her own production company. His eldest son, Simon, is a musician, taking after his father's profession. Simon said that Phil provided his earliest music education by giving him albums to listen to. His fourth, Nick, is also looking into a musical career and started his own band called Better Strangers. As for his youngest, Matthew, it's a mystery, but there's no doubt he has an endless supply of connections in the entertainment industry if he really wanted. And he's still young, so he has time. At number 4, we have Snoop Dogg and Brandy. The two cousins, yes, you heard that right, cousins, have their own successful music careers spanning decades. In case you've been living under a rock, Snoop Dogg is a rapper with a personality higher than life, if you know what I mean. Whereas Brandy is a singer, songwriter, and actress, most known for her R&B sound and for playing iconic roles such as Cinderella. Usually when we find out that celebrities are cousins, it tends to fall on the distant cousin type of way. But these two are actually first cousins. Their respective music careers were always separate as they never used each other to boost themselves within the industry. That's because they didn't need to, as they both managed to create their own solid fan bases throughout the 90s. But finally in 2009, Brandy was featured on Snoop Dogg's 10th album, Malice in Wonderland. They collabed in his song titled Special, where she provided the vocals for. Next on the list, we have Andie MacDowell and Margaret Qualley. Some fans of the Netflix series Made didn't believe it when it was revealed that the mother-daughter duo on the show were mother and daughter in real life. Most of it came from their names, clearly, as Margaret's stage name doesn't take after her mother's. But nonetheless, they were praised for their believable chemistry on the show, which now makes sense. Andie reassured fans that while there's so much tensity on the show, their real-life relationship is very different. Unlike the animosity and toxic relationship between their characters, Andie and Margaret are actually really close. She also shared how they spend a lot of time together anyways, so being able to work around these new types of emotions with each other wasn't very hard. And before you scream nepotism on Margaret, you'd be right, but instead of booking the role via her mother, it was the other way around. Margaret had already secured the main role and suggested to the showrunners that her mother be cast alongside her. At number 2, we have Steven Spielberg and Jessica Capshaw. While they're not blood related, they definitely are a family. A Hollywood family at that, with Steven's more than obvious big name in the industry, and Jessica known as the infamous and beloved Dr. Arizona Robbins from Grey's Anatomy. And no, they're not married. Steven is her stepfather. Kate Capshaw, Jessica's mother, is his second and most recent wife, and they're still married to this day. They met in the early 90s on set of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which he directed because duh, and Kate starred in it. It was reported that despite having these big connections, because her stepfather is literally the biggest director of all time, she decided not to use them and paved her own way. She got her Bachelor of Arts degree for English Studies and then enrolled herself in a prestigious performing arts program in London. Now, whether Steven had some role in getting her into these schools is unclear, but seeing as many don't know they're associated together like that, I think not. And finally at number 1, we have Michael Cera. Last year it was revealed that he and his wife Nadine became new parents. Well, it was less revealed and more so exposed by Amy Schumer. It was an accident, but Michael confirmed it days after her interview was released. Michael was known for keeping his personal life private, as his wedding was low profile too. The only reason people realized the two were married was when they were spotted wearing similar wedding bands on their fingers. And even then the media came to a conclusion that they probably got married sometime in 2018. All we know about their kid is that he's a boy, and that's pretty much it. Michael did open up more about how being a father changed his life in more ways than one. He said it changed his perspective on life as he became a real family man. In an interview he said, "So when I was 20, I would have been way happier to go off to some weird city and live in a hotel for 3 months. And when you have kids, you want to be with your family and you miss them a lot." I'm gonna be real, I can't believe Elon Musk had another kid that we just never knew about. Was there someone on this list that shocked you too?
Number 10, Tom Hiddleston and Taylor Swift. If you've ever dated Taylor Swift, then there's a very good chance she's written a song about you. Swift has been basing her lyrical masterpieces around past relationships for a majority of her career. Splitting up with someone is never easy, but whenever this happens to Taylor, it gives her a chance to pump out another top charting track that is sure to keep us dancing the night away. This was unfortunate for Tom Hiddleston though, best known for his role as Loki in the Marvel Universe, briefly dating the singer in 2016, even briefly being dubbed Hiddleswift by fans. That's so cute. The couple was together for a grand total of 3 months, but during that time were very public about their activities, almost trying to sell us on the idea that they were just so happy together. The timing of this was just a little too suspicious, as Hiddleston had just begun production on Thor Ragnarok, and Swift was working on her then unreleased album Reputation. The two seemed to be using the relationship's strong media attention to their advantage, with past album sales growing up to the point of Reputation's release for Swift's, and buzz surrounding Ragnarok was in full swing till its premiere the following year, eventually becoming one of the highest grossing Marvel movies of all time. Yeah, sus guys. Number 9. Jennifer Lopez and Drake. It all started back in 2013 when Jennifer Lopez made a jaw-dropping entrance at the Grammy Awards. She walked out in a stunning off-the-shoulder black gown dress, and Drake's jaw dropped. The moment became a viral GIF, which certainly caught the attention of J-Lo, because over the next couple of years, Drake was spotted, popping up at a number of Lopez's All I Have concerts in Las Vegas, Nevada. In one instance, Drake posted a photo of himself holding J-Lo's diamond-encrusted hat while she slayed it on stage. Soon after, rumors began flying that the two had secretly been together for quite some time, with some photos suggesting that they were spending a lot of their quality time together. With no warning, Drake posted a photo of himself and Jen cozying up together, seemingly confirming the relationship. But many people were suspicious of the true nature of their relationship, including pop singer Rihanna, who unfollowed Lopez on social media following their announcement. The relationship eventually fizzled out at an unspecified amount of time later, and the two never spoke about it again. But these two getting together created such a buzz on social media that their followers grew by thousands, which was probably the real reason these two went public in the first place. Number 8. Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. His skin was pale and his cold, and that's how Kristen seems to like him. The late 2000s were dominated by the Twilight series, films centered around Bella, a new girl who just moved from sunny Arizona to rainy Washington State, and Edward, a handsome but mysterious teen who, spoiler alert, he's a freaking vampire. Stewart and Pattinson played the characters over the course of 5 films, and the chemistry was very apparent, so much so that they decided to move that chemistry off the screen. Over the course of the 5 films, the pair would get together and split over and over, claiming the time and time again that they simply just needed a break from each other. Now, we didn't buy this for a second, as their reunions always seemed to take place on set filming the next movie, or just coinciding with the time of the red carpet events. It was just very clear that it was a Hollywood PR person forcing these two to continue pursuing something that may have once existed, but had most certainly been drained of its blood. Number 7. Steve-O and Nicole Richie. Steve-O, the stuntman, is known for doing some wild things. He's been blown up, shot out of speeding shopping carts, and he's even kicked a shark one time because it was about to bite his foot off. But the wildest thing he's ever done of all? He settled down. In 2006, himself and reality TV star Nicole Richie had been spotted spending a lot of their free time together at restaurants and parties and concerts. At the time, Richie's show The Simple Life, which was a reality show starring herself and Paris Hilton, was in its last season, and Steve-O was riding the wave of success following the recent release of a sequel to a movie whose title could get us demonetized. So it makes sense that Nicole would plot a publicity stunt to draw attention to herself and to attempt to keep a hold of her show. This did not work, as the show remained cancelled, and the pair called it quits only a few months after they had gotten together. Steve-O has since moved on, as is now engaged to his girlfriend, Lux Wright. Yeah, dude! Number 6. Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn. The Breakup is a 2005 romantic dramedy starring Aniston and Vaughn as a couple who are stuck living together following a nasty split that leaves them fighting for custody of their apartment. This sounds like a cute movie. You know what's even cuter? The pair became a couple in real life. They were regularly seen off set having dinner and snuggling up together, sparking news of another screen couple turned true lovers. Well, in 2006, that news shifted to accuracy of film title astonishes all, as the couple mutually called it quits, agreeing that the relationship had run its course. Convenient timing, considering for months before their film premiere, the couple was creating buzz online, getting people excited to see the real-life couple acting together on the big screen. But despite the attempt, the film received poor reviews and the PR play had seemingly proved useless. Now, while this may have been a stunt, the two recount sharing a wonderful time together, with Aniston even saying that Vaughn was the defibrillator she needed after a rough divorce from Brad Pitt. I don't know why that's a good thing. That sounds very painful.
Number 5. Secret third child. Not everyone knows that Will actually has a third child from his first marriage to Cherie Zampino. Trey Smith, who is now 29 years old, mostly lived with his mother following his parents' divorce in 1995, and so that's why he's still relatively unknown. But Trey has actually struggled quite a bit compared to his half-siblings. In a 2018 Instagram post, Trey said that he felt betrayed and abandoned for a long time after his parents' divorce, and even Will admitted that he and his eldest child struggled for years to develop a good father-son relationship because he basically made a whole new family and moved on without Trey. The truth is, his father's total absence from his day-to-day life was quite hard on him growing up, and Will has also said that he regrets how neglected Trey felt. In fact, they have only recently been back on good terms, and the actor said that he and his firstborn son have slowly started growing and healing, overcoming their past trauma, even posting on Instagram in 2018, quote, "It is a wild blessing to recover and restore a loving relationship with my beautiful son." Number 4. How they met. The couple often paint their love story as one for the ages, but they definitely tried to gloss over the fact that their relationship began when Will was technically married to his first wife, Cherie. In fact, Jada let this information slip voluntarily in a 2018 interview with Access, admitting that when Will first reached out to her, he wasn't exactly fully free to do so. Quote, "He was just separated," and then went on to say that the divorce had not even happened yet. The couple has maintained that they weren't physically involved until the divorce was finalized, but many fans believe Will's heart had certainly strayed well before he made any move to end things with Cherie. During a sit-down interview on Red Table Talk, Will actually said that at a certain point in his first marriage, quote, "I had a realization that I wasn't with the person I was supposed to be with," but maintained that he didn't want to get divorced. He kind of admitted that instead of being honest with his wife right away, he just lost feelings for her and kept it private. But in the end, his ex-wife was the bigger person and ended up asking for the divorce, which allowed him to publicly date Jada right after the papers were signed. Number 3. Nepotism. The Smith family are undeniably a very tight-knit unit, collaborating on so many projects together throughout their careers. Some critics have accused the patriarch of nepotism, and they may have a point. It's pretty easy to see why. Just glancing through Jaden Smith's IMDb page, you can actually see that most of the movies he starred in were produced by one of his parents. The accusations were so intense that in Will's memoir, he opened up about casting The Pursuit of Happiness, saying that the studio actually didn't want to cast Jaden because it would seem like nepotism, and that would just ruin the credibility of the film from the get-go. But even though the studio was hesitant, the concerns didn't keep the Smiths from pushing for Jaden to get the part, and eventually they had their way. Don't get me wrong, the movie was great, but fans could not ignore the clear favoritism that was happening behind the scenes. Many people even called out his acting abilities in After Earth, which completely bombed at the box office, and Will even called it the most painful failure of his career. Number 2. Open marriages. Will and Jada have been shutting down rumors for literally decades, from claims that they're in an open relationship and speculation that they're swingers, to reports that Jada even cheated on Will with Mark Anthony. During an interview with GQ in 2021, Smith finally revealed that he and his wife haven't always been monogamous. Quote, "Jada never believed in conventional marriage," and went on to say that Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship. So she grew up in a way that was very different to how he grew up. He hinted that both parties had taken advantage of the trust and freedom in their relationship in their own way. Will admitted that for a large part of their relationship, monogamy was what they chose, but it's clear that somewhere down the line they decided to stray from that traditional dynamic. In fact, Will was rumored to be hooking up with Margot Robbie on the set of their film Focus in 2013, after photos were leaked of the pair joking around and getting very close in front of the camera in a photo booth. But Margot was quick to deny everything on Twitter. quote, "There's absolutely no truth to the ridiculous matter. It's disappointing that goofing around on set could be taken so out of context." Well, people really do jump to conclusions. And coming in at number 1, ties to Scientology. While the couple have never confirmed their religious affiliation, the Smith family has long been rumored to be members of the controversial Church of Scientology. Smith told Men's Vogue in May 2011, quote, "I've studied Buddhism and Hinduism and I've studied Scientology with Tom Cruise, and nobody's saying anything different." His comments obviously earned a great deal of backlash, especially when he claimed 98% of the principles are identical to the principles in the Bible. But then in October 2018, he declared that his family have never been Scientologists. To confuse matters even more, many of the Smiths' movies reportedly contain Scientology references and themes. In 2013, Vulture even called his sci-fi flick, After Earth, that he did with Jada a love letter to Scientology. Not to mention the fact that in 2007, Will and Jada donated over $122,000 to the church. The truth is, we may never know whether the family are members of the religious movement or not, but the fact that the famous family hasn't condemned Scientology is already a major problem for some fans, especially as more and more disturbing allegations are continuing to come out about the church in recent years.
At number 10, we have Jia Kim and Sang-hun Lee. The two starred alongside each other in the new spin-off series XO Kitty. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it yet, they both played the semi-potential love interests of the main character Kitty, and their performances and respective characters were well received by viewers. It became quite the story when they revealed that they are actually siblings in real life. In a podcast, Jia shared how she first received notice to audition for the show, which she then shared forward to her younger brother Sang-hun. She was already in the running to play Yuri, while Sang-hun forgot about it altogether and only had 3 days left until the audition's deadline. Luckily for him, his sister pestered him to get it done, and the rest is history. Jia Kim was actually a given stage name that she picked, and she was auditioning from LA while her brother still lived in Korea. The odds of them both being cast was slim to none, but they made it happen. At number 9, we have Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra. The couple surprised us all when they welcomed their first baby into the world last year. This came as a shock because these news came out of nowhere. In 2021, during the Jonas Brothers family roast, Priyanka joked about how they were expecting, but little did viewers know she was actually telling the truth. The birth came via surrogate, which is how they were able to conceal any and all pregnancy news so easily from the world. They welcomed a little girl named Malti Marie and couldn't be happier to their new addition. On a joint statement shared on both stars' social media accounts, it read, "We are overjoyed to confirm that we have welcomed a baby via surrogate. We respectfully ask for your privacy during this special time as we focus on our family. Thank you very much." They received tons of praises and congratulations from fans and other celebrity friends of theirs. Baby Malti had a bit of a rough start upon her first few hours as a newborn, as she had to remain in the ICU or intensive care unit for 100 days. Fortunately, that is all she needed, as she was then taken home and has been growing healthy ever since. Priyanka would often post pictures of their daughter but made sure to cover her face entirely. That was until January this year, when she made her first public appearance at the Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony. Nick and his brothers Joe and Kevin were anointed their own plaques along the tourist-driven road. Next on the list, we have Elon Musk and Grimes. Okay, so we all know their first kid's name is X something, or apparently it's pronounced X-A12. The internet was up in flames when their poor kid was first announced. But did you know they had another kid? Because I didn't. Their second child, a daughter, was literally born a year later, but this made little to no noise. Maybe it's because her name is more normal compared to her older brother. Her name is Exadark Sidereal. I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of a fire name because it sounds like the name of a sci-fi character. But despite this very unique name, Grimes just refers to her as Y. Why? Well, if I told you that by simply asking that answers your question, would you believe me? Because that's literally why. On Twitter, she tweeted, "She's Y now," or "Why," or just a question mark, but the government won't recognize that. Curiosity, the eternal question, and such. Meaning she wants people to question why she's called Y. Okay, I've said the word why so many times at this point the word is no longer real to me. At number 7, we have Macaulay Culkin and Brenda Song. Honestly, it came as quite the shocker when I found out these two were together. But they've been together since at least 2017, and if they're happy, we're happy. They're also very private and only share very little to their social media. So in 2021, when they welcomed their first child Dakota into the world, people were very surprised. The only statement they made regarding their firstborn was, "We are overjoyed," and that's all that really needs to be said. A year later, Macaulay's brother, actor Kieran Culkin, shared the news about baby number 2. Brenda described her and Macaulay's parenting as very hands-on. They don't have a nanny, but they do get help from Brenda's mother often. Brenda shared how she would go to work, her mother and Dakota would come on set for feeding and bonding time. So now with a new baby, they definitely got the hang of it. The actress advised that parenting doesn't have to be about assigning certain chores to each other. They learned that communicating is their top priority, as that's the only way you can acknowledge and resolve problems. At number 6, we have Florence Pugh and Toby Sebastian. Did you know Florence had a sibling? If you did, how did you even figure that out? Toby Sebastian is her older brother who found his own success in the acting industry. He's best known for his roles on the Game of Thrones and the Music of Silence. He's also a singer and songwriter. A couple of years ago, he came out with a song titled Midnight where he featured his younger sister. The song is a soft duet with a guitar accompaniment. If you're into songs that sound like they'd play at a bookstore or cute cafe, I highly recommend it. When asked about collaborating with Florence, he said, "We've always grown up collaborating as a family, which is kind of the beauty of this song and now the video that we've created." So anyone who dares say he featured her simply because of her status, do not listen to them because they clearly don't know what they're talking about. He actually credited their mom for even suggesting the idea in the first place. Within 20 minutes in the studio with no rehearsal came their little song.
In at number 5, Lance Armstrong. In 2012, champion cyclist Lance Armstrong denied that he ever relied on performance-enhancing drugs. He referred to the doping allegations against him as outlandish and heinous. However, when the US Anti-Doping Agency revealed compelling evidence, the cyclist's house of lies began to crumble. The agency released about 1,000 pages of evidence in doping allegations against Armstrong and his teammates. This led to him being stripped of 7 Tour de France titles and bronze Olympic medal, plus his secret forced him to step down as chairman of the Livestrong Foundation. Armstrong would later give a detailed account of his doping to Oprah Winfrey in 2013.
You know, I view this situation as one big lie that I repeated a lot of times.
In at number 4, Arnold Schwarzenegger. The secret that Arnold kept ended up being the bombshell that destroyed his marriage. Just 5 days after Arnold's then wife Maria Shriver gave birth to their 4th son in 1997, the couple's housekeeper, Mildred Patricia Baina, also gave birth to a son by the same action star. He kept this child of his a secret until he completed 2 terms as California's governor in 2011. Then he finally confessed his infidelity to Shriver and later the public. All it took was the media identifying the mystery baby mama, and thus the celebrity scandal had been completed. There have always been celebrities that kept their kids out of the public eye, but nothing in terms of what Arnold was able to pull off by keeping this all a secret for so long. Imagine seeing that kid and be like, "This kid looks like Arnold's son. Was that Arnold's son?" In at number 3, Charlie Sheen. No one has really been attacked in the press like Charlie Sheen has. Not saying he hasn't earned some of his controversies, but let's just say that there are some very shady people in this world. The notorious actor appeared on NBC's Today Show in 2015 to announce that he was HIV positive. Charlie had been diagnosed with HIV 4 years prior and finally revealed his secret after several people actually tried to blackmail him. Allegedly, there were some people threatening to reveal this secret unless he gave them $10 million.
I'm here to admit that I am in fact HIV positive. And I have to put a stop to this onslaught.
If the timeline is 4 years from this interview, then his diagnosis would have come right as this whole controversy with the show 2.5 Men started. You know, the one where he said in a bunch of interviews that he had tiger blood and Adonis DNA. Like, it's no wonder with that much press on him already that he didn't want to also reveal what could even be perceived as a weakness to his health. In at number 2, Drake. This one was a huge reveal because for so long people were just simply speculating on whether or not Drake was dating someone. So when Pusha T released a track with a line directed at Drake that said, "You are hiding a child, let that boy come home, Adonis is your son," everyone that was watching that feud had this jaw-dropping moment when Drake finally revealed his secret son named Adonis. How did Pusha T know this? Drake would later record a song called Emotionless that explained why he had kept his son hidden from the public. He just didn't want to expose expose his son to the world that would have had their eyes on his every move. And it's understandable, but I believe it baffled people because it wasn't like he was like happily married to someone. He appeared to just be this rolling stone that was always rumored to be romantically involved with one celebrity or another. Last but certainly not least, on our number one spot, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. Like many celebrities on this list, JT and JB have had an awful time trying to keep their personal lives out of the public eye. One thing that has certainly helped keep a lot of secrets is, well, this pandemic. I mean, if the paparazzi can't come within 6 feet of you and everyone's on lockdown in their homes, the tabloids must be just suffering right now. Although the Daily Mail still found a way to unearth some celebrity secrets when they revealed that Jessica had secretly given birth to a baby boy. The family are thought to be in Big Sky, Montana, where they have been spending time amid the coronavirus pandemic, and both of them have neglected to share any details whatsoever about the pregnancy, so I guess we'll have to check the Daily Mail if you want info on that celebrity secret. In at number 10, Leighton Meester. You'd never be able to tell by how she carries herself today, but this polished celebrity was actually born in a Texas prison while her mother was serving time for drug smuggling. Though her mother was allowed to spend 12 weeks in a halfway house with newborn Leighton, she was soon sent back to jail. Meester ended up living with her grandmother in Florida until her mother was released. At 10, her family moved to New York so that she could begin a career in modeling, only to then pack up again 4 years later and head to Los Angeles. Once in Hollywood, she began auditioning for various roles while taking acting classes, but she found it difficult to relate to kids her age because of her unstable upbringing, an upbringing that she kept hidden for a very long time. Her breakout acting role was when she portrayed Blair Waldorf on Gossip Girl, a character whose mother was the owner of a fashion empire, which, as you can imagine, was a stark contrast from her actual childhood. Today, though, she was worth an estimated $16 million. In at number 9, Selena Gomez. In typical rumor mill fashion, when singer Selena Gomez decided to cancel part of her world tour in 2013, the gossip magazines did all kinds of speculating as to why. They said she was battling a drug and alcohol addiction and listed a plethora of other unconfirmed conspiracies. The real reason that these types of stories kind of bubble up is because of how secretive celebrities are. Although, can we blame them? I'm sure there are some parts of their life that they just want to keep quiet. And it turns out Gomez had been hiding a secret from the world, but it had nothing to do with indulging in addictions. Later on, Selena revealed to Billboard that she had to undergo chemotherapy to treat lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease. She mainly wanted to wait for the right time to talk about it, and when she did, she didn't want to be loud about the whole thing. Selena just wanted to wait so that she could properly use her platform to help spread awareness. In at number 8, Prince. Prince has always been a wild and eccentric character. I mean, in 1993, he literally changed his name to a symbol. If that's not the definition of an enigma, I don't know what is. Although this brilliant musician was hiding a big secret from the world. For his entire life, Prince had been coping with epilepsy, which is a serious medical condition. Although in 2009, he revealed this secret during an interview with PBS. In the interview, Prince told host Tavis Smiley, "I'd never spoken about this before, but I was born epileptic. I used to have seizures when I was young. My mother and father didn't know what to do or how to handle it, but they did the best they could with what little they had." Although Prince said that after a while he was able to keep his condition largely under control. He also noted though that this control over his epilepsy came by way of an angel that spoke to him. In at number 7, Katie Holmes. Just 5 days before Tom Cruise celebrated his 50th birthday, his wife of 5 years, Katie Holmes, filed for divorce in New York. The world was completely shocked by this secret being unearthed. The couple had been spotted together on the set of Oblivion in Iceland just days before, and they were strolling along like nothing was going on. Everything's fine. Don't look at us. Apparently, Holmes orchestrated her escape, if you will, from Cruise very carefully. She set up secret meetings with lawyers and prepared to battle for sole custody of their daughter, Shuri. Now, although the details leading up to this was kept secret, if you were watching the tabloids, one could assume that she was using them to shift the public's perspective. Katie Holmes used the sympathies of the tabloids to convince people that she was just this kind of passive wife of Tom Cruise was a maniac, which is believable, right? The weirdest part was that right after her divorce, she had all of these events set up where there would be people there to photograph her. Normally, following a divorce, you would think that you'd, maybe take some time to yourself, take some time off from work maybe, but nope, she just went right to the cover of the August issue of Elle magazine. In at number 6, Caitlyn Jenner. Back in 1971, Jenner participated in their first decathlon, and by 1972, Jenner was competing in the decathlon at the Munich Olympics. At those Olympics, they finished 10th overall in the event, and in 1976, Jenner went on to win the gold in the decathlon at the Montreal Olympics and was declared by the media to be the world's greatest athlete. Jenner was able to accomplish all of this while living with a deep personal secret that wouldn't be shared with the public for, I don't know, another 40 years? In 2014, Jenner announced that they were divorcing from longtime wife Kris Jenner, and just a year later, Jenner shocked the world when they revealed that they had undergone gender reassignment surgery. At the age of 65, Caitlyn Jenner introduced herself to the world, and by 2015, ESPN had awarded Jenner the Arthur Ashe Courage Award, and to this day, Caitlyn is one of the most prominent public figures to come out as transgender.
Number 5, he's immortal. A celebrity's birthday party. It's some of Hollywood's most exclusive events. You really gotta know someone to get invited to celebrate their birth. At Leo DiCaprio's 48th birthday, a number of A-list celebrities were in attendance. LeBron James was there, Rami Malek, Scott Eastwood, Mario Lopez, people who seemingly have nothing to do with Leo. Except one thing. You see, there's a dark corner of the internet that's dedicated to the idea that Hollywood elites are actually in a cult and make sacrifices to keep themselves rich and young. Leo is definitely on the list of possible members, not only due to his activity in the climate change community, literally trying to alter the air, but his never-aging face. Many older actors in Hollywood have young faces. Just look at Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd hasn't aged since 1991, which must have been when he was inducted as the leader. There is some evidence supporting this theory. Leo only dates younger people, and famously, younger people are popular for sacrifices in film. His so-called friends are all frozen in time, and let's face it, some of these people sold something to someone to magically gain their fame. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Casey Affleck. Number 4, bad friends. The Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation auctioned off dates with 2 of Hollywood's biggest predators at their annual fundraising auction in 2015. YouTube won't allow us to say these people's names anymore or show their faces because that's just how terrible these people were. So to help put a face to the situation, they were 2 of the men that were brought down by the Me Too movement. They were like the first ones, and one was a producer for Quentin Tarantino, the other one was the lead of House of Cards. So for the purposes of this list, we will refer to them as Jabba the Hutt and Spaceman. Should be pretty easy to differentiate the two. The foundation auctioned off a chance to spend a year working and enjoying private time with Jabba and Spaceman. In hindsight, this is one of the weirdest things a person could bid on. It doesn't matter who the people are, you're basically just paying to have famous friends for a year. Leo brought these men back for this event several times. Now, while it was before the allegations of their misdeeds were confirmed to the public, Leo was very close to these men for a long time. He worked with Jabba on several big budget projects, and he's been close with Spaceman and his family since his early 20s. Gee, I wonder why Spaceman wanted him around. With these being some of the people he's associated with, we can only imagine the other people that he might keep secret in his life. He's a man of wealth, influence, and power. The idea that his friend list and the Me Too list are one and the same, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. Number 3, he inspired Home Alone. Leonardo was born on November 11th in 1974 in Los Angeles. He was an only child growing up, and his parents, Irma Lynn and George DiCaprio, have been pretty vocal about his rowdy behavior growing up. From a young age, it was obvious that he was going to do something creative. They recall him constantly running around the house, impersonating people, and doing little sketches for them from time to time. One thing they pointed out, though, was that Leo had a tendency to pull stunts on his parents with elaborate traps and contraptions. His antics were first mentioned in the early 90s while doing an interview with his parents. Coincidentally, a little holiday movie called Home Alone was made not long after that. It's a film starring a kid using elaborate traps, contraptions, and voices to take out the bad guys trying to invade his house. And to trick a pizza guy for some reason, I don't know, that scene always seemed cruel to me. Is this a coincidence? I don't think so. It wouldn't come as any kind of a surprise that some Hollywood hotshot heard this story and molded it into the classic flick that we know now. His parents called them antics. But if Leo did anything even close to Kevin McAllister in that movie, he has definitely ended some lives. Number 2, Don's Plum. No, this entry is not about a man named Don and his obsession with plums. That's going to be another list. Today we're talking about Leonardo's greatest regret. In 2001, he released a movie titled Don's Plum, starring himself, Tobey Maguire, and several more of his younger male friends. The film has been banned from ever being shown in theaters in the US and Canada. Why? Well, this was basically Misogyny the movie. The plot centered around the crew meeting up once a week to discuss their recent romantic escapades and overall life experience. Oh, they also bring a new girl every week and just treat them like absolute garbage. This film is filled with terrible dialogue, graphic depictions of violence against women, with Leo's character even going so far as to threaten a woman with a glass bottle. That particular scene is very intense, but what's more intense is that the dialogue in the scene was improvised by DiCaprio on set set, meaning that behind his calm, quiet demeanor, there may be a truly horrifying man. No normal person would have said the things that he said in that moment, so seriously, check him out. And number 1, he's immature. In 2013, Leonardo DiCaprio played a character named Jay Gatsby in the movie adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's 1925 novel, The Great Gatsby. The plot centers around the titular character who has been throwing extravagantly lavish parties at his home without anybody knowing who he actually is. People just show up to the party and never wonder where or who their host is. It would appear that this role was meant for Leo, as he's been known to throw a mega bash or two in his time. The problem though is DiCaprio's real-life persona is much more immature than his on-screen counterpart. According to past partygoers, Leo has been known to go hard. While he's never taken any illicit substances, he really likes that no-no juice mixed with a little bit of OJ. His behavior has been erratic, and he's apparently very easily excitable. This is unfortunate to hear, as Leo is normally very well spoken, and with being an active member in the climate change community, you'd think he'd have like the mentality of a 70-year-old Harvard grad. But instead, he's apparently more of a Kyle, mentally speaking. If you know, you know. And those are the dark secrets that we know Leo is keeping from us. What secrets do you think he may be hiding? Let us know in the comments below.
Number 10, against discipline. Smith's unusual parenting style has raised eyebrows over the years, but he and his wife faced backlash in April 2013 when he revealed that they didn't believe in punishing their 2 younger children, Willow and Jaden. Will told Metro UK, quote, "We don't do punishment. The way that we deal with our kids is they are responsible for their lives. Our concept is, as young as possible, give them as much control over their lives as possible." And when talking about the concept of punishment, they believe it has too much of a negative quality. Basically, their whole parenting philosophy is that they don't believe in disciplining their kids. But criticism of their parenting style really exploded in 2014 when 13-year-old Willow was photographed in bed with a 20-year-old actor laying down right beside her. The whole thing even led to an investigation by Child Protective Services. In an interview with BBC Radio a couple of years later, after the initial drama, Will actually admitted that he and Jada may have gone a bit too far in their hands-off approach, and perhaps should have kept a tighter rein on Jaden and Willow. Regardless of whether you think the Smiths were wrong in their parenting approach or not, there's no denying that it led to 2 incredibly creative individuals. Number 9, wanting multiple girlfriends. While the Smiths are no longer trying to hide how they feel about open relationships, many people have actually taken more offense to Will's misogynistic comments about women, specifically when he admitted in a 2021 GQ profile that his fantasy was to have, quote, a harem of girlfriends. He proceeded to name Halle Berry and ballet dancer Misty Copeland as 2 women that he would invite to be in it. Then, under the direction of an intimacy coach that he had at the time, he researched them and even made plans to contact them. Quote, "The idea of traveling with 20 women that I loved and took care of and all that, it seemed like a really great idea." Obviously, he never acted on the impulse, eventually realizing that it wouldn't be fun at all in reality. He apparently came to the conclusion that it would be horrific, and it would in fact make him miserable. Can't really argue with that one, but it might have been a good idea to keep that fantasy hidden. Number 8, the entanglement. Musician August Alsina brought the Smiths' relationship into the spotlight in July of 2020, when he revealed that he was romantically involved with Jada, and Will knew about it the whole time. He had even given them his blessing. Although Jada initially denied the claims, she eventually confessed to being in an entanglement with August when she and her husband were separated. Quote, "We decided we were going to separate for a period of time, and you go figure out how to make yourself happy, and I'll figure out how to make myself happy," Smith said during an appearance on the Red Table Talk in July of 2020. They both went on the talk show together, and in a heartbreaking episode, Jada told Will how she came to be romantically involved with August, and how he made her feel special because of what they were lacking in their relationship at the time. Will took the whole thing like a champ, but the clip went viral online because he looked like he was on the verge of tears the whole time that Jada was talking. Looking back on that moment now, it almost hurts to watch. Number 7. Strange beliefs. Jaden and Willow Smith have long been open about their bizarre opinions, but all of their insane comments have mostly been swept under the rug over the years. The siblings have also come out and labeled themselves as indigo children, who are believed to possess special, unusual, and supernatural traits that was popularized in the 70s. One of the most unforgettable interviews was done by T Magazine in 2014, who felt that their sibling dynamic would make them just the right people to talk about all those classic teenage topics such as quantum physics, prana energy, and the lucid, often elusive nature of temporal interpretation. Jaden said, quote, "Here's the deal, school is not authentic because it ends. It's not true, it's not real. Our learning will never end. And that kids who go to normal school are so teenagery and so angsty." He went on to say that you never learn anything in school. Think about how many car accidents happen every day. Quote, "Driver's ed? What's up with that? I still haven't been to driver's ed because everybody I know has been in an accident, and I can't see how driver's ed is really helping them out. I mean, we could break that down even more, but I don't really see the point." It's just funny because you know he was completely serious when he said it. Number 6. Hating on Aunt Viv. One of the most controversial opinions that Will has had is that of Janet Hubert, who played Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When she left the sitcom due to creative differences in 1993, Will slammed his former co-star during a radio interview. "All I can say is straight up that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be the Aunt Viv of Bel-Air show." He also said that she told him, quote, "I've been in the business for 10 years and this snotty-nosed punk comes along and gets a show?" Those comments marked the start of what would eventually become a 30-year feud. Janet claimed that Will spread lies about her behavior on set because he knew the audience was mostly on her side. It wasn't until the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion special in 2020 that Will even acknowledged that he had made the set difficult for Janet during the 3rd season. It was a really sad moment because she admitted that the rumors Will started had cost her everything, including her career and her reputation, saying, quote, "Calling a black woman difficult in Hollywood is the kiss of death." Will only realized his mistake much too late and said that after having 3 kids, he's learned some things he did not know at the time, and he would do things differently with Janet had he gotten another chance.
5. Theo James and Shailene Woodley. These are some names you may not be super familiar with unless you were a teen in the early 2010s. James and Woodley are the stars of the Divergent series, young adult films about a dystopian future where society is split into 5 factions and one girl who does not fit into any one specific category. Woodley plays the leading lady, Tris Pryor, and Theo plays the leader of Dauntless named 4, aka Tobias. In the books, Tobias and Tris meet under strange circumstances and spark an intense romantic fuse. They then spend the next 2 movies running together from the faction elites. Playing a couple on set though seemed to have given the pair a brilliant idea as they began appearing closer and cuddlier as time went on. Many times in interviews for the second Divergent movie, the pair can be seen making cute comments and subtly flirting with each other, but sadly their fake love was not meant to last, as with the franchise coming to an end in 2016, so did their PR stunt. The couple maintained that the relationship actually never took place, but judging by the on-screen chemistry, that actually might be true. That might be true. Number 4. Kid Rock and Pamela Anderson. The singer and the lifeguard. Sounds like a cheesy sitcom, right? Well, that was the actual combo that took place when Kid Rock and Pamela Anderson began an on-again, off-again relationship in the early 2000s. At first only dating, on and off again, the couple were then engaged after a reunion in 2003. They would call it off one more time before they tied the knot officially in 2006, only to file for a divorce soon after that. The back and forth nature of their relationship is not uncommon in the world of Hollywood, with many high-tier couples breaking up and reconciling over and over again. But what is uncommon is that the couple were airing out every single bit of dirty laundry for the public to see, and soon speculation turned to truth, as it was uncovered by a Hollywood insider that the couple's troubled history and rocky road were merely an attempt to keep themselves relevant in today's media circus. The plan didn't work, as most of you watching this right now probably don't even care about these guys at all, and some of you might not even know who either of these people are. So if that's the case, please go find some good old seasons of Baywatch and prepare to be amazed. Number 3. Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. For those of you who may have forgotten, between the original Spider-Man trilogy starring Tobey Maguire and the newest trilogy of Spider-Man movies starring Tom Holland, lived a little universe in which Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man, and Sony was his ruler. The Amazing Spider-Man franchise only pumped out 2 movies between 2012 and 2024. Garfield played Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, in the franchise, and fan favorite Emma Stone was cast to play his leading lady, Gwen Stacy. From day one on the set, the two were inseparable, spending every second of free time they had together and developing what can only imagine must have been a strong and long-lasting bond. However, these two getting together was just a little bit sus. People fall in love on set all the time, but this couldn't have been a more perfect setup if you tried. On-screen love interests who take up a majority of the film's runtime with their undeniable chemistry shining through scene after scene, not to mention they're together in the movie for real, like you fall in love with Gwen Stacy. Anyways, this almost feels like an extreme form of method acting, because the couple were together for the entirety of the franchise, 4 years, only to call it quits a few months after the premiere of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. They've maintained a strong friendship ever since, but we really do miss you guys. Come back, Gwen. Number 2. Carmen Electra and Dennis Rodman. This PR stunt lasted for all of 2 weeks in 1998. Carmen, who was then popular for her skills as a singer as well as a gifted dancer, met the famous basketball player Dennis Rodman at a nightclub in Los Angeles. They exchanged numbers and Rodman bombarded Electra with phone calls after phone calls until she finally agreed to hang out. Classic move, Dennis. Negging. They started seeing each other regularly, with Rodman once even clearing out the Chicago Bulls training center so that the two could have some fun together, uninterrupted, and anywhere their little hearts desired. They got married like most couples around the time did. In Las Vegas, baby! The two were married on November 14th, 1998, only to file an annulment 9 days later. Rodman claims to have not been in the right headspace when he agreed to the marriage, and the two haven't spoken to each other in years. Reporters and paparazzi were very skeptical about this move, as the couple's ups and downs had taken over the media circuit for months, causing Electra to get her name out there more, which was super convenient seeing as she had just started building up her repertoire in the movie industry, starring in cult classic movies like Good Burger, as well as a recurring character on Baywatch. There's a good chance she would have made it on her own, but hey, it never hurts to publicly suffer first, right? Number 1. Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries is a former basketball player, and Kim Kardashian is, well, Kim Kardashian. The reality star and basketball player began dating in 2010 after his New Jersey teammate Jordan Farmer introduced them in New York. Less than a year later, the couple were engaged and officially married at a beautiful summer wedding. Of course, all of this was front page on social media and news outlets, causing a massive buzz for both the couple and the reality show. But after just 72 days of marriage, Kardashian filed for a divorce, simply claiming they were not getting along at all. However, Kris has a different story. He simply wasn't following suit with the family's plans, claiming that Kim made him sign a prenuptial agreement before the wedding, granting her 100% of their earnings as a couple should they split. Kris filed his own annulment, claiming fraud and stating that the only reason she married him in the first place was for the TV ratings. And this was absolutely true, as proven with her immediate bounce back to Kanye West, as well as the couple's time on the show being some of the highest viewed episodes of season 6. While Kardashian knew the relationship wasn't going to work out, Kris didn't, and the entire thing was very real for him. So like, hey, Hollywood, chill out with the fake couples for a minute, you know?